Oh, my God, that's a Republican lesbian.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, April 26, 2015, time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 716.
This is No Agenda.
Constantly in transition and broadcasting live from the Crackpot Condo in FEMA Region 6 in the capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I want to talk about sync and NAT and segues and passwords. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
No agenda there. The whole intro was an agenda.
Well, there you go. I guess it was. Doesn't mean we're going to talk about any of that stuff.
No, of course not, because, that would mean we had an agenda.
This was something that you were talking about to me, and I said, I forgot to bring it up. It was about sync. You were syncing something, and it was...
Yes, BitTorrent Sync.
Right. It was chewing up all your network address.
Yeah, my router got really slow.
Yeah, I think that. So I wanted that to come into the show. So explain.
Yeah, my router got really slow, and someone had mentioned somewhere in an email to me about the network address translation tables in your router, and apparently BitTorrent Sync fills it up because of all the connections it makes. But here's the thing: I upgraded this morning, and this is the BitTorrent Sync 2.0. Guess what?
Does the same thing.
Yeah, no, it breaks. It breaks BitTorrent Sync 1.0.
Oh, that's no good.
It's completely ridiculous. Well, they're in trouble. The company fired half their workforce last week.
BitTorrent?
Yeah.
Whatever the name of that torrent or whatever the name of that.
Yeah, I think it's just called BitTorrent. Yeah, they fired.
I don't know what happened.
40 or 45%. Let me guess. Revenue? Revenue didn't happen?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know how you would.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you wanted to complain about something else?
Oh, the Segway. I think they've changed. The controls on the thing.
Oh, you rode one recently.
I've been on Segways before, and so I was on another one when I did the 10th anniversary because they were going to put those Segway moments in the stupid promotion
for the showstoppers.
Yeah, showstoppers. And I fell off. I didn't fall. I was tossed from it.
Let me guess.
I didn't fall on my ass. Let's put that. But I ran into a monitor, and the thing wouldn't stop. And then when I get off of it, it kept going. I mean, that's not supposed to do that.
Let me ask you a question. Was there alcohol involved?
No, but there was there was something funnier.
Oh,
I was deciding this would be funny to spin around in a circle. It's got zero.
Right.
Radius.
And that's just the left-hand control knob. You go.
Yeah, you just pull it over and you go around and around. I think I spun maybe one too many times and was kind of dizzy when I came out of it. And that didn't help.
I don't feel so good. Were you in hurling mode?
But it's beside the point. I can still tell that the controls on the thing were not quite as functional as they used to be. I think those things have been downgraded. I don't think they work anymore.
Oh, man. Yeah, I had one of the original ones. I remember bringing it back from the United States into the Netherlands. We were living there. And I remember customs going, "What's this?" And I said, "Well, it's a Segway." "Well, what's the value?" And what did those things cost at the time? $5,000 or something?
Yeah, I think so.
I said $500. I said, "Okay." And they went and looked it up. It was so new. They said, "Yeah, sounds right." Okay.
And it wasn't even in the book.
No.
Because what maniac in their right mind would export one?
The days of money. Good times.
Well, we should get to know what kind of crap you wasted it on.
Oh, yeah.
Did you drive the Segway around Holland?
The house, we had the castle in Belgium to go from the living room to the kitchen.
Another renter.
No, what do you mean renter?
You didn't buy that.
I sure did.
Well, I thought you were not into property at all. You're always into renting.
No.
Did you make a profit on it? You sold it.
Well, I had two houses. I had the castle in Belgium, and I had the beautiful canal house in Amsterdam. I had purchased both of them, and after we left, I vowed that I, for a long time at least, would not be purchasing because I'd sold the house in Amsterdam at a significant loss. The place in Belgium kind of made up for it because I made a profit there, but it's stupid. If I'm not locked down, going to stay somewhere, it just makes no sense. I move around a lot.
You're a rambling man.
Yeah, rambling man. But anyway, even though I'm renting this place, good news. I brought in the witch doctor, Deva, and she came to do a clearing of the place. Had I told you about this?
No.
This is the second time she's been here.
What, ghosts?
Entities.
You have entities.
Yes. It's very normal to have a house clearing, John, with some sage and some dragon's blood, and she walks around. And both times when she walked into the second bedroom, and the reason why is Christina said she didn't feel right in here. I said, okay, I'll have the witch doctor come and she'll clean it out. And,
all right.
And she almost gagged when she walked in.
Oh no, evil spirits!
Not necessarily. She said it was this negative, real heavy energy around the studio portion.
Well, that's where you sit.
Well, that's where I stand. Yeah, and I said that makes total sense. You know, the signals come in. I'm projecting it out. It's all about evil people. And she said, "Oh, we'll have to do a lot of work here." But anyway, that's not the cool thing. The cool thing is, in my bedroom, above my head, she says, "Oh, wow, there's a portal."
Oh, wow. She used the words, oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
That's witch doctor speak. Yeah, she says the portal. And it's
Okay.
it's going in the right direction. It's taking energy up, so I can at night I can go through the portal and be recharged. I knew you would mock me.
Of course. Who wouldn't?
Well, let me tell you, stuff is happening. I woke up this morning and I finally had the title for my book. It just hit me, so I know the portal's working.
Okay.
Pipelines and pedophiles.
Pipelines and pedophiles.
That would be the perfect title for the book. Maybe,
Yeah, I think you got it. You nailed it.
Maybe I got to work on the portal a little bit.
Amen. Fist bump.
Oh man.
Pipelines, pedophiles, and portals.
Yeah. I did actually do a lot of research the past couple of days. What was it? Friday. I did it. I'm thinking about the Trail of Tears tour and kind of getting excited about the idea. But I've decided I can only do it under, well, there's two things I need. One, I need a gun license for all states. I forget isn't there one state you can get your license there and then it's good for all states to at least transport a weapon?
Well, I know that's possible. I know with the Washington State, if you have a gun permit, you can get one in California, but you still have to fill out paperwork.
Oh,
it's not like there's a national gun license, which unless you're in the FBI, I don't think they have that.
I do recall a while back people would send me information about it. So
someone will send you information for sure again.
And what I really want, what would really make this whole deal, would make me happy, is if I had the Airstream Bambi International 19-foot trailer.
Thought you were going to get the 16.
Well, I looked at it's only 3 feet different, and it has to be a C, so the bed is in the corner, and then the dinette is in the front with all the windows. I could live in that. I could live in it.
Yeah.
Well, but
Isn't that the idea? And a good trailer, something you can live in?
I mean, I could live in it forever. I could just live in it.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. The problem is the cost. Holy crap.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
They're
They
three
hold
times
the resale value pretty well.
I've been looking around. These things new, or you can get one that's from 2000. That's maybe
get a discount.
Twice.
Maybe somebody from Airstream listens to the show.
Now, would that be okay for us to take that as a barter, or I mean, that's kind of
Well, let me get this. Let me think about.
If I'm able to say, "Hey, this thing sucks," then okay.
Somebody. Well, you're not. Well, we have to assume that's not going to happen because nobody says that about these devices.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
But let's say that somebody works for Airstream that listens to the show. They said, well, you can have, I'll give you a factory discount of, it'd be probably around 20-25%, maybe.
How about just give me one? I don't understand.
No, they're not going to give you one. That's not going to happen. No.
But just for, how about just for the tour? Just for the tour, come on.
Maybe as a promotional idea, there'd be Yeah. This segment brought to you by Airstream.
The B Block is brought to you by Airstream Bambi.
The Airstream Bambi 19 fits everyone's needs.
There are some custom jobs, man, that are so perfect for me, but man, it's, I mean, it's pretty much like a car, like a new SUV, in cost. Don't think I can do that. People have to understand, I tweeted a picture.
I still can't get the vision out of my head of you bombing around some dusty old castle with a Segway.
It was not that dusty. It was nice. We had to call each other on cell phones to find you in the house.
Hey, where are you here? Where are you?
Another thing I just don't. It's ridiculous. I learned so much. And you get all these people around you. When you have that kind of money, you get all these people around you. And then they start fighting with each other. And the whole thing is just bad energy. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. Screw. I'm happy. I'm happy I took a vow of poverty.
So you found the portal house, and then you were ousted a ghost? Is that what happened? What was Christine's complaint? She had a ghost in her room.
I think it was just the energy.
What was the ghost? Oh, okay. You don't have then there's no ghost involved.
There was no entity in her bedroom or in the studio, as we call it. No.
I just put up a poster personally, but okay.
A Ghostbuster poster?
It's any old poster. Drive them away.
And then last night, Saturday night, Austin was cranking. We have the Austin Food and Wine Festival, which is right in front of the building in the Republic Park. It's just fantastic, free music. I get it. I have a front row seat to anything that happens here now. And then I was supposed to go see.
Aren't you in a tall building that's fairly new?
2008, 2007. It's not that new. Why?
I'm just thinking of how you get how did the negative energy? Where does it come from? It's not ghost.
Oh no, it's from you mainly. It's coming out of your router into my router.
Visited the place.
No, it's all through the internet. It comes the router's in here. Everything's in here. So all that energy is.
Oh, the internet. Yeah, I can see this. This is going to be a problem in the future for everyone.
I think so too. Everyone needs to learn how to do a clearing of their properties,
of their cash.
So I sat and watched the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Once again, I don't know how we messed this up. Every single year, we promise each other, next year, we're going to do live play-by-play of the red carpet arrivals. And what happened to that?
We forgot about it. I didn't even see the event. I missed it.
Oh, really? You missed the whole thing? I sent you a text message. Are you watching?
Yeah, but you didn't say specifically what. Yeah, I was watching the Warriors beat the Pelicans.
Oh, of course. Well, we're glad you're very involved in the show.
That's just could be something could have happened. Someone's head may have popped off, and it would have been good show material.
CNN was not going to do anything different than show this joke fest, which I do want to discuss. But what happened just as they were getting underway when the Correspondent Association's awards were being given out, which has got to be that's almost as bad as the podcast awards, man, the way they do that. Oh, you got to come up, you got to kiss everybody. Get my award. And CNN, of course, noticed that we had riots in Baltimore. There was all kinds of stuff going on, but they were not going to cut away. And here's one of their political experts who was on the show explaining.
This is always about choices, right? I mean, you have to make a decision. What are you going to do with this 2 hours of time? And CNN made its decisions and is sticking to its plan and so forth. If people want to know, yes, 12 people were arrested. The Baltimore police have tweeted that. You can find that out now. You can find a live feed if you actually want to watch what's going on. It sounds like complete chaos. The cops apparently are keeping people in Camden Yards, where the Orioles game is winding down. They don't want more people going into the streets.
We don't have that confirmed right now.
None of this is confirmed.
So they're even talking about people being
bickering.
Yeah, well, we don't have that confirmed.
This is all what I'm seeing on Twitter. And so you can find out, what you want to find out. And,
on Twitter.
And something else is going on. The most powerful man in the world is going to tell some jokes.
Well, stop the presses.
Now, that's an odd sort of set of circumstances, but it was an odd set of circumstances when he told jokes on the same day that they were killing bin Laden.
We didn't know that.
We don't control a lot of this stuff. We sort of make our best choices, and we'll catch up. People will be informed. They'll find out all about the scholarship winners. They'll find out all of what happened in the streets of Baltimore by this time tomorrow.
That's so great.
What's the hurry?
That's so great. CNN pretty much says, you don't need to watch us. If you want news, go to Twitter.
That's what he said.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty phenomenal. So you did not watch?
No, I missed it.
Well, then let me just give you a cut. Wow, that is unexpected.
Well, you watched it. You covered me. I'm not even worried about it because I'm sure what you've dug up.
I got to tell you, I didn't really dig anything.
Because there's so much funny material.
Could you have probably, like, texted me back and said, no, I'm watching the game, or you just ignored my text, or did you only get that this morning?
I actually haven't even gotten it yet.
All right. So the way this works is it's a whole bunch of douchebags from Hollywood. It's supposed to be the White House Correspondents' Pool. Then this is their association. They have a little club, and then they invite celebrities to come sit at their table. And it's a big to-do, and everyone dresses up, and they get on the carpet. And I actually wound up watching a lot of Bloomberg, who had pretty good live red carpet coverage. There's no Ryan Seacrest, by the way. But it was pretty good, and they were asking, who are you wearing, and all. They've figured it out. They know how to do the red carpet arrivals. Marie Harf arrived with Wolf Blitzer.
Oh, that's interesting. He's always arrived with one of these bimbos.
Don't call her a bimbo.
Okay, he's always arriving with one of these bimbos.
she's not a bimbo.
Sure, she is.
No, that's not. No.
Yes.
No, I disagree.
Oh, and
okay, fine. You disagree.
I stuck a flute in my pussy.
There she is, Marie Harf.
Yeah.
She's ditzy, but
okay. Well, then he always takes one of these ditzes to the event.
Is he not married? Blitzer?
Well, while you tell us more, I will find out.
Okay, so we had Cecily Strong was the comedian. She's from Saturday Night Live. I'm not really familiar with her. I don't watch Saturday Night Live at all, I guess, because Saturday nights are spent prepping. There I sat. I even tweeted a picture of me, my sad ass single man, don't have the big TV yet from the divorce TV, with all the wires hanging out, and my frozen pizza and my glass of red wine.
Did you know that Wolf Blitzer is 67? He was born in Augsburg, Germany.
Blitzer.
Hence the name
Blitzer.
Wolf.
And Blitzer. Blitzer. Oh, I didn't know that. And you know what? Entire weeks go by. I don't care.
Yes. He's married to Lynn Greenfield. Since 1973, they have one child. Why doesn't he bring his wife to the event? He talks her out. He says, hey, honey, this is better for publicity. I'm going to take Marie Harf.
And besides,
that blonde
look
bimbo,
how cute she is.
Why are you taking her?
Look how cute she is. I love the chat room suggestions. Buy a DVR, Adam. Oh, yeah, okay. I'll watch 5 hours the next day. Chat room irritates me sometimes. So the way this works is the president does, first we get the awards, and the president does some business, some jokes. Usually very good. President Obama is outstanding at delivering a joke. He really, really is very, very good. And of course, it's really tough to follow the president as a comedian because you don't know what his jokes are going to be. And I think he must, and it's really the punchline. So he used the punchline of Joe Biden being the best in massage, back massages. He had a punchline about not being served pizza in Indiana if you're gay. There were 4 or 5, and Cecily, is that her name? Cecily.
Do you have any examples of these jokes? Are you going to play a clip?
Yeah, let me see what I have. First, this was just something that was, and there's always messaging. Whatever the president does in this, there's always messaging. And by the way, he did something different this year. He did not do full-on all jokes one after another. He had a little skit in the middle, and that was really the big piece of his routine.
They've had skits before. They play that little movies.
He did a skit on stage.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah, and it was long, and it was very, very good when it comes to messaging. But first, he did a name check. And 2 guys we've spoken about on the show before as possible hopefuls for the Democratic Party. And I just thought it was interesting that he called them out.
Look at my Cuba policy. The Castro brothers are here tonight. Welcome to America. Amigos, ¿qué pasa? What? It's the Castros from Texas? Oh. Iowa Queen. Hi, Julian.
Anyway. There you go. So
he's calling out Ted Cruz and...
well, of course he called out Ted Cruz.
And the other guy?
But this was different. This was... There are these two guys, the Castro brothers. I think, remember at an Obama bought dinner a long time ago, one of them said, the Castro brothers, they're the big hope for the Democratic Party. You may not recall.
No.
Because that was really just a nice name check for them. And then he went into, so he had a couple jokes. Of course, he had the obligatory things and making jokes about stuff and talking about MSNBC, how low their ratings are. And, okay, ha, 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 very funny. But then he brought out the anger translator, which is a bit I have not seen. I guess it's something that is done somewhere where one guy
the host of this thing?
Cecily Strong.
Oh. Who? Oh.
The comedian, you mean?
What was she picked?
Well, we'll get to that. So the anger translator bit is where the president is a guy standing behind him, and I mean, I'm sure he's well known. I feel so culturally stupid about this. I have no idea. Key and Peele is what the chat room says. I don't even know where this airs. Is this on television somewhere? Anyway, so
I never heard of it either. So the president watched too much television.
It's kind of like the we used to do this bit on Top 40 morning radio, and you get, you'd say something, and then the anger translator is like your conscience with what you really meant to say. And the way the bit works is, in this case, at a certain point, it turns around, and then the president becomes the anger guy. So I'll start off with a little bit of, so you just understand how it works, and then we'll go into the president's bit, which was 100% pure messaging. I think well done.
Protecting our democracy is more important than ever. For example, the Supreme Court ruled that the donor who gave Ted Cruz $6 million was just exercising free speech.
Yeah, it's the kind of speech like this. I just wasted $6 million.
So you get how the bit works?
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't all that funny. This bit is funny, though.
And it's not just Republicans. Hillary will have to raise huge sums of money, too. Oh, yeah.
She gonna get that money. She gonna get all the money.
Right. So that's how the bit works. That was kind of funny with that stuff. But here is the same bit with the payload meant to communicate a message of, climate change.
But we do need to stay focused on some big challenges, like climate change.
Hey, listen, y'all, if you haven't noticed, California is bone dry. It looked like a trailer for the new Mad Max movie up in there. Y'all think that Bradley Cooper came here because he wants to talk to Chuck Todd? He needed a glass of water. Come on.
The science is clear.
Science is clear.
The science is clear. 9 out of the 10 hottest years ever came in the last decade.
Now, I'm not a scientist, but I do know how to count to 10.
Rising seas, more violent storms.
You got mosquitoes, sweaty people on the train stinking it up. It's just nasty.
I mean, look at what's happening right now. Every serious scientist says we need to act. The Pentagon says it's a national security risk. Miami floods on a sunny day, and instead of doing anything about it, we've got elected officials throwing snowballs in the Senate.
Okay, I think I got it, bro.
It is crazy. What about our kids? What kind of stupid, short-sighted, irresponsible bull?
Whoa! Hey!
What?
Okay, no, hey!
Woo! Get angry at Republicans.
What?
All due respect, sir, you don't need an anger translator. You need counseling.
And then he goes over to Michelle and he says he's crazy.
What is the point of this stereotypical, some black guy screaming and kind of I'm sorry I missed it.
It was interesting because in the beginning I really had to. This is maybe we've discussed this before. Whenever I have a clip, I never start exactly at the beginning of the clip if I can, so that you can take a second or two just to get kind of acclimated to the sound of the person's voice. This guy was doing this angry black man thing, and I could not understand him in the beginning. It really took me some focus and maybe 2 or 3 of these jokes before I could really tune into his frequency. It was just a little over the top. And so the snowball, as a punchline, then Cicely Strong used that later. And the audience, this is what happens. You know what the punchline is, and the audience can already feel it coming. And then the minute the comedian hits the punchline, I don't understand why they don't just skip them. It's like the president uses a punchline for a joke in a different setup. You might as well forget about it. It's not going to work. The audience is sitting there anticipating the punchline. This happens every year. And I thought she had some. It was a good routine. I think she definitely did. She really slammed the president on a couple things, like that he doesn't take ISIS. He didn't take ISIS seriously. And but what did she say? There was I don't think I put that one in. The Secret Service is it'll be the only law enforcement agency that would get in trouble if they. If a black man got shot, it's like, okay, it was some pretty good stuff in there. What I missed is the president said nothing about Black Lives Matter, zero, not a single thing, while this was actually going on, maybe 45 minutes from the DC Hilton in Baltimore. A lot of gay jokes, interestingly. And Cicely, of course.
The point of the gay jokes was.
Gay jokes are funny.
There's a lot of gender-bending material over the last week, all surrounding the Bruce Jenner distraction.
And we'll get into it. Then we just finish up with these clips so you get an idea of the fine things you missed. Here she is with a joke about, she rags on all the networks, of course, and then she's time for CNN.
And you gotta give it up for CNN. It's just comforting to know that whenever a big story breaks, I can turn to CNN and watch Anthony Bourdain eat a cricket.
I like that one. That has happened to me so many times. We turn on CNN and Anthony Bourdain once again. So she, of course, is from SNL, NBC.
Oh, and what can I say about Brian Williams? Nothing, because I work for NBC.
Actually, that's a funny line because that's one of the points we make on our show.
Yeah, a lot of the things she said were no agenda-like topics.
She can't talk about anything that's NBC related.
She could talk about the president being shot, but not about NBC, just to give you an idea of who has the real power in the room. And then she has this whole lead up into an introduction or a nod to the First Lady.
Rand Paul has announced that he's taking over the family's not being president business. And yes, that's Rand, as in he didn't get elected. But at least he ran.
Now listen to
Paul's a libertarian, which, if you're unfamiliar, a libertarian is just a Republican that you have to block on Twitter.
I like that.
Rand Paul's campaign slogan is "Defeat the Washington Machine, Unleash the American Dream." The American Dream, of course, is the model name of Rand Paul's wig. Well, and now talk about 2016. Let's talk about the most important person in the room, my leader, the person I'm so glad
that when I heard that, I had to play it back 3 or 4 times. I was so convinced she said "mine leader." It sounds like "mine leader." Listen to it.
Let's talk about the most important person in the room, my leader.
Mine leader. But it was
what it sounds like.
It was just me.
The person I'm so glad is in the White House, Michelle Obama.
Yes.
Now, Michelle, you take care of that garden while you can, because in 18 months, Bill's turning that thing into an above-ground pool.
So I had actually expected you to have a couple of your favorite jokes in there, but you were watching sports.
I actually wasn't attracted to the event enough to, obviously, I could have just for the most years, I record the whole thing and then I try to run through and see if there's anything good. But I don't know what it was, but I just did not have any desire
It was rough. It was rough to watch. It was like watching an okay comedy show by Russell Simmons or something. But forget all that.
Russell Simmons.
The only thing that really matters, that dress Michelle Obama was wearing. I mean, this was a Zach Posen custom beaded gown, perfectly accentuated with just the right shade of plum lipstick, perfect curls. I have to tell you, this dress she had on was so cleverly made. It sloped up her neckline, so it completely obfuscated the fact that she's a dude. It was really cool. It was. You have to look at the pictures. You'll see what I'm talking about. Perfectly done.
Okay, let me look her up.
Mm-hmm. It's the Zach Posen custom beaded.
Sparkly perfection, says the headline.
Look at the way the neckline is sloped upwards. It's not even touching her skin because it's withholding the view, and it gives you a sculptured view of her body type, which is it's really very smartly done.
There's a picture of the 3 or 4 people all putting their hands over. I guess they did play. I don't know. They played the national anthem before this event.
Yeah, they always had the color guard doing all that.
She's just towering over these bald guys.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Well, I've said what I have to say about that. Now, throughout the show, have you ever heard of Jason Razian? Jason Razian?
Not any way you're pronouncing it, probably not anyway.
Well, no one could really pronounce it last night, but there was a big push from the awards all the way through the president. There were pins. This is a Washington Post correspondent who's been detained in Iran since July.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, no, I know him.
Well, it was...
I mean, I don't know him. I know of him.
And his wife, Yegi.
Yeah, he's a Washington, right. He's the guy that they consider to be a spy. Probably is, but it's beside the point. They have no proof.
Right. Well, he's being held for propaganda, etc. By the way, he holds 2 passports, U.S. and Iranian.
That's because he's Iranian.
Yes. So, that may be part of the reason why they're not giving him back, but it was just so blatantly set up, right down to the pins, and every single person talked about it, that I'm saying this is going to be the feather in the president's cap when he negotiates his release from the Iranians as a part of the Iranian deal.
It's not going to be much of a feather.
Well, the press corps will think it's a feather because it's one of theirs, you see. It's one of theirs.
I think he's still down one chopped head.
And then, of course, speaking of, the president apologized for the drone strike, which killed an economic hitman.
Yeah, there was an interesting thing we were watching. Watching the NewsHour. I was watching it with Eric, and I actually made him look at this. So there was NewsHour's got this new gimmick they do. They do a story, and then they flash a screen of text that has some sort of like obscure information. And it's always kind of interesting. And so out of the blue, they flash this screen of text that says the first drone strike, and I'd like somebody to check this out. It's questionable. The first drone strike that we ever did was in 2002 in Yemen, where we accidentally killed an American. I've never heard anything about it.
I never heard about that either. No.
I never knew about it. I don't know that it's true. But I think what they're doing, and I think what you're going to describe, which is this apology for killing the economic hitman, is they're trying to downplay and maybe get us to just forget about the fact that Obama gave the orders to kill a 16-year-old American kid sipping coffee at a cafe. Or variously, depending on who tells the story, being at some sort of barbecue with a bunch of friends and family. And
right.
So let's have a bunch of other things. Oh, no, well, yeah. So there's a bunch of Americans who were killed. Well, the 16-year-old is just one of them. And I think there was some reporting on drone strikes being pulled back. They're going to be culled. There's not going to be as many anymore and all the rest of it. I think he's trying to, again, legacy.
Oh, it's all about legacy.
Yeah, he's at the next year until the next election. All Obama's going to be doing is backtracking on everything to improve his legacy.
Dr. Weinstein, who was droned with Hellfire, was employed by J.E. Austin Associates, Virginia-based strategy and management consulting firm for the development of emerging and developing economies.
That's Economic Hitman written all over it, if anyone's read the book.
And on the firm's website, he's described as a, quote, business development expert based in Pakistan. Dr. Weinstein was under contract by and presumably paid by USAID. Economic hitman. And you know what? It comes with the turf. But it was a pretty big apology. And I got a clip from J. Johnson, who was asked about this. Now, J, sometimes pronounced as J, but we say J, J-E-H, J. Johnson, tool of the industry, the trigger man, the man who used to sit in the Pentagon and say, yes, legally you can kill that human being. And he was asked about this unfortunate accident. This is not the J. Johnson we know.
Our targeted use of lethal force when circumstances warrant has very definitely contributed to our national security
and the death of other people.
Our homeland security.
Oh, yes. We're safe.
Regrettably, in armed conflict, in the use of lethal force, we hit unintended.
What should we call them, John? Unintended
consequences.
We hit unintended consequences? No. What are those things called?
Human beings?
The things that rip apart and bleed and just turn into
people?
Yeah, people.
Objects.
I'm sorry. It's objects.
Human beings.
Oh, human beings are objects. What is that? Object. It's an object. Don't worry about it. Human beings.
That's unfortunate. I give the president a lot of credit for getting out there on his own and taking responsibility for what happened and expressing regret.
There you go.
How did this happen in the first place? Did they explain it? How is an economic hitman in the target zone of one of these strikes when they do so much work? They claim, we do all the research ever needed. And, we're unlikely to ever kill anybody by accident.
Well, he was a hostage.
Okay, so they decide to blow up the house with a hostage in it?
Yeah, oops.
Not kill the guy somehow?
Maybe.
The bomb?
Maybe. The first thing I thought is when I saw Economic Hitman, I'm like, the guy needs to go. The guy needs to go.
You think this was an assassination?
Sure, that's what I think.
Okay, it goes like this then. They got captured? They're going to be him?
Oh, no.
Kill him.
Wait a minute. I didn't even get a chance to be in the meeting. You've already killed him.
Yeah, he knows better than to get caught like that. No, he's got to go.
What a stupid moron. Oh, well, that's the danger. Risk of the job.
He gets paid the big bucks. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. The big bucks. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Good stuff.
Yeah, great stuff. I do want to tease that coming up in today's program, I have an Uber Sources report. From Nicaragua.
Oh, that should be interesting.
I got lucky.
I think we should move it right up. Move it and go now.
What, you want to get the mocking in early? Is that the idea?
Okay, let's take a little break from anything serious. I got a interesting clip that's a part of Ask Adam.
Do you need the jingle?
So.
Okay.
I want to do an Ask Adam right now.
And I want to thank, I forgot who did it now, one of our producers who said, "You crazy fool, are you a techno expert? You need to get the new search for OS X, which is Hudaspot." Hudaspot. And it does work very well. Ask Adam, yeah. All right, Hudaspot. Hudaspada.
So I'm watching a 1971, I believe is when it came out, Diamonds Are Forever, James Bond movie with Sean Connery.
Yes, and who sang the theme song? Was that Shirley Bassey?
Exactly.
Diamonds Are Forever.
Yeah, she sang a couple of these.
Do I win?
And now he's running around trying to catch some guy, and they're trying to catch him because he's, they got a bunch of diamonds involved.
Yeah.
and they're going down the river. I think it's the Amster. Is that in Holland?
Amstel with an L. The Amstel.
Oh, they're going down the Amstel
River.
And in one of these cruise boats, and it's a...
it's not a cruise boat, it's a canal boat, yes.
Canal boat, but it's one of those... It's a tourist.
Yeah, flat, really long.
Right, and they're going down. And then this is the... yeah, you already have it. So they play this, and I have to ask you some questions.
Ahead is one of the oldest bridges in Amsterdam, the Skinny Bridge. It was built over 300 years ago by two sisters who wanted to visit each other every day. Unfortunately, they ran out of money, so that is why it is called the Skinny Bridge. On your right, those beautiful old houses can be seen.
Okay.
Ask Adam.
I'm ready for your question.
All right. Mm-hmm. Now, first of all, this is what she said was a non sequitur in my mind. Perhaps in the Dutch mind, it's not. There's a bridge called the Skinny Bridge.
Correct.
That two sisters tried to build across, and they ran out of money. And because they ran out of money, that's why it's called the Skinny Bridge.
Well, that's incorrect.
Does this make any sense to anybody?
Well, they're missing a step is because they ran out of money. The bridge was just more like a draw, like you're walking the plank. It's very skinny. No cars. It's just a skinny bridge. They didn't have enough money for a wide bridge. And then people said, hey, that's a skinny bridge. In true Dutch tradition, they said, you know what? Let's call this the Skinny Bridge. Is that
okay? Which bring another point up then. The logic of this still eludes me. If they started building the bridge, would they built it skinny and they were going to widen it after they built it? That makes zero sense.
I think your OCD is kicking in, man. It's not such a big deal.
Well, it seems to me that if they'd completed the bridge, which they kind of did, there's a little piece in the middle, that it would have still been skinny if they had the money to finish it. It would have still been skinny, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't buy into this. Oh, we're going to expand it later.
Well,
we ran out of money.
I find that many tourist attractions and tours, when the guide is telling you things, it's, take it all with a grain of salt.
All right. Okay. That was my question. I had to know. Why this Skinny Bridge? Because you ran out of money. So it's called the Skinny Bridge. Uh-huh. Maybe it was because it was skinny, it's called the Skinny Bridge. Doesn't that make more logical sense?
Yeah. You're really obsessing over this.
I'm bothered by it hugely.
All
right. I'm surprised they left it in the movie.
Really? I'm not quite sure I understand the point of this segment that you've brought us.
I was wondering. This was a genuine Ask Adam. I wanted to know, and now you're telling me, that you're all in on it.
We're kept in the loop with a super duper group of Uber spies.
That's right, everybody. Time again for another one of our Uber sources. Now, this is completely against all rules of journalism. I do not. It's a hidden recording, hidden microphone on my iPhone. I do not ask for permission, and I just broadcast it. And I was thinking, what's so bad? Doesn't Dateline do that all the time? And To Catch a Predator? I mean, what is the illegal part of doing it if you broadcast
Well,
it?
I was thinking about this.
Thank you. Because you thought we don't need trouble is what I was thinking.
Well, that's one of the things I was thinking while I was thinking about it.
All right.
Since this is anonymous, you never identify the guy except from some nationality, which could be bullcrap, by the way.
Yeah.
Guy could be from.
Oh, there's no background. I have no.
You don't know. The guy could be a phony baloney.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Here's how it goes. Here we go. Hold on a second. Yes, this is the No Agenda fact checking department. Is the Uber driver there?
See.
I just want to check and make sure you're actually from Nicaragua.
See.
And okay, thanks a lot.
See.
We're good to go. Good to go.
See.
Yeah. So you were thinking about it, but in between pondering why they call it
anonymous, and because of the segment, I think you could make the argument that you never really recorded. This was all done by local actors. That you're good to go. It's just a phony segment of the show. That's what I'd make that argument. I think you can get away with it.
All right.
There's no proof that you actually did any of this.
There's no proof. Then there's no complaint so far. Now, this was a double, maybe a triple whammy. And I'm on Congress Avenue, and I had to send some FedEx stuff off. So I'm on the corner in front of the FedEx, and here comes my Uber. And boy, am I glad I took Uber, because you can't park anywhere on a Friday or Saturday on Congress. Here comes my Uber, and so the Uber driver pulls over, and on Congress, I don't believe it's demarked as such yet, but we have bicyclists and other two-wheel vehicles driving on what will in the future be the bike lane. And so the driver pulls over, and I get ready to get in, and then and two guys on a scooter who I guess were behind the car or whatever, but it wasn't like the car cut them off. Just the car pulled over, and then these guys are yelling at me saying, "Don't do that! Don't do that! Don't do that!" You know, like you're not even allowed to pick someone up or to pull over for a second. So this time, instead of...
They were on a motorized scooter or a push thing?
Motorized scooter, like a Vespa type scooter.
They were on a Vespa bitching?
Yeah.
Give him the finger.
Well, so I was already recording, thinking, I'd like to see if I can get some of the preamble before I figure out who somebody is. Maybe it'll be interesting. And I lucked out because this all happened while I was getting into the car.
Oh, fuck you.
There he is. There's your podcast hero right there. They're like, fuck you. Not too loud. I don't want to come beat me up.
Hi, sorry. I hate that.
Me too. It's like,
come
you're
on.
going to get somewhere.
Give me a break. Where are you from? You're not from here?
No, I am not.
East Coast?
Originally, yes.
But Russia?
No.
By the way, her name is Sally. Our actress's name is Sally.
Okay.
Now,
why would you assume she was from Russia?
I was just listening to the accent. I heard a kind of a New York twang for a second there, and then as she was talking, I thought maybe Russia. I'll tell you why. I looked because I was sitting right rear seat. She's of course left front, and I'm thinking she's smoking hot. This is my day. Win, 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 win.
Ukraine?
Nope.
I'm thinking she might be one of those hot Ukraine girls, but she had dark hair, so I knew I couldn't be right. But it was the accent. I couldn't quite place it.
Ukraine?
Nope.
Am I warm?
Nope.
Okay, you have to say something. Now I'm all...
Okay, you got to go south from here.
Now when she's like, okay.
Now you could have said, you missed an opportunity. You said, am I warm? She said, no. You should have said, well, you're hot. Total douchebag.
No, I didn't want to douchebag it immediately. By the way, these Uber Sources segments are purely informational and for entertainment purposes. And it's also just to learn about the popular. It's not like she's an actual spy. She may be a handler. But I'm just curious how people from different countries are thinking about political and world and geopolitical events that we discuss on the show. So when you hear someone's from Nicaragua, what's the first thing you're going to say, John?
How's the canal doing?
That's easy. But you'll never guess from where.
South from Texas, you gotta go?
Yes.
From South America?
Nope. Central.
You're gonna have to just tell me because I'm out of ideas now. I'm out.
Usually people immediately, when I say Central America, they go, oh, Costa Rica. No, I'm from Nicaragua.
Nicaragua?
Yes.
Wow. Hey, how about those Chinese building that channel?
I know.
Is that messed up? Or what?
Am I smooth or what? This is how you do it. All No Agenda producers should be doing this. The minute you throw something like that, and her head actually spun around, and she's looking in the rear view. Wow, you know about that, about the canal?
You know, I don't know. I have to read more about it, to be honest. But you know what? It seems like the country's just giving everything away to the Chinese. It's like, give it away already.
Yeah.
They have been for years.
What else have they been giving away?
Electricity, the plants, the electric plants, they're owned by China now. I'm like, why?
Well, they got all of Africa, so they might as well start moving into other places.
I just, and then you go with, factories, and it's like little by little. They've just been getting rid of it all.
All bits and pieces.
I thought that was interesting. I didn't know about the electricity, the electrical
plants. The Chinese, their model is to get a hold of or build plants, electrical stuff for them that they can use,
infrastructure,
and build roads that they can use, and then put up little towns for them. And, there's extra electricity, so it probably benefits the locals, I'm sure.
Yeah, they seem real happy about the eminent domain that's going on.
She's just randomly complaining. She's not like that nutcase that you had from Haiti who was bitching and moaning.
My brother...
everything.
Well, now she talks about her brother.
Bought land. I think he bought like maybe 50...
It's hard to hear. Her brother bought land.
70 acres. And all of a sudden he gets a letter saying, oh, by the way, you don't own this land. He goes, what do you mean I don't own this land? So he went back, and he said, I'm going to go with my paperwork. And, he's a citizen. We're citizens here. So what he did is he went to the American Embassy and he went to the Nicaraguan Embassy, and he says, you will not do what you did back in the 90s to people, where you just say, hey, your land is ours, your house is ours.
Right, eminent domain or whatever
exactly.
It's called, yeah.
So... And so far, so good.
Okay.
And he says, I will fight it until I die. It's his land.
But they want it for some Chinese project.
Probably.
Yeah. So the eminent domain thing is going on again, which is kind of a cycle for them. And this is all, Ortega is still president. And we talked about him for a little bit. But yeah, I find Nicaragua to be interesting.
We made #1 country in Central America to go visit.
Really?
Yes, it's great for scuba diving.
#1 country in Central America to go visit for tourism. Scuba diving and surfing. I didn't know this.
I didn't know this. I question it.
Surfing. Scuba diving too.
And surfing. Apparently Chinese restaurants.
Apparently, yes. Absolutely.
So, but I guess who's the president?
Daniel Ortega.
Again. Oh, is Ortega still? Okay, right. So
it's like, why don't you people learn?
Yeah, really.
He was the one that really, turned the country upside down. I do have to thank him for turning it so upside down that my mother said, you know what, we're moving, we're getting out of here. Right. We will not be here.
Yeah.
So that was the plus there.
All right.
The plus is they drove them out.
Drove them out of the country.
Now, the last time I saw a report on that canal and the problems it's going to cause, including going into that big giant lake in the middle of the country, that with all the ships which will pollute, that's their drinking water, that big lake.
Yeah.
And so this got a bunch of smoking ships dropping oil and the rest of it into the drinking waters is not going to be good. But the last time when I see a report, Nicaragua is the poorest of all the countries in Central America. And so this Chinese event is supposed to bring up the standard of living and end that.
And it appears it's more than just an event. I mean, they're following their model, as you pointed out. They get the electrical plants, get all the industry,
infrastructure, roads,
infrastructure. So I felt she really didn't have a lot of information on much more for me on Nicaragua. So just for our own little jollies, I figured I'd ask her about driving for Uber. Here's a good-looking woman. I think she said she had a daughter who was 17, so she was in her 30s, I guess. And she loves it. As she came to Austin, there was supposed to be some other gig for her, some job, and that fell through. And then her ex-husband said, well, why don't you go drive for Uber? They're opening up in 2 weeks. And she did, and she loves it, at least to an extent.
I signed up. 2.5 weeks later, I was driving.
You like it?
I love it. I never in a million years thought that I would be driving for a living.
Isn't that crazy?
Because this is what I do.
Yeah.
And you know what? I enjoy it.
Well, you're Uber Select, so you're not
it's
getting
a different clientele.
Yeah, Uber Select. You probably also don't pick up on Saturday night on 6th.
You know what? This week has been brutal. I'm not kidding. Today, I haven't even made, and I started at 10:30. I haven't even made, you're going to laugh, but I haven't even made $100.
$100? And this is 5 in the afternoon. $100. This is not so good. No, I'm not laughing.
It's been bad.
I'm very sad for you.
She says out there when you get big tips. That's my guess. And I bet you tipped her big.
You don't tip with Uber.
Oh, that's right. Then my theory is out the window.
Yeah,
never mind.
But I had another ploy, which is coming up. First, we'll just finish about her driving after midnight.
So bad. It's shockingly bad. Yeah. So I'm debating whether I should work after 11. So I haven't done the after the bars close.
I don't think You probably don't want to do it.
I really don't.
I
And
hear
I am
nothing
so
but-
debating it this
No.
week because this week is just going to be so bad for me. Two things. Nothing good happens after midnight.
Some Nicaraguan wisdom right there. Nothing good happens after midnight.
I agree with that.
I do truly believe that. I'll fight to the death, believe me. Before someone touches
They all fight to the death there, Nicaragua.
Yeah, they like to fight to the death.
A fight to the death.
You Nicaraguans fight a lot to the death.
Yes. Yes. And number two, I don't want anyone throwing up in my car.
Exactly. 'Cause That's what happens.
The punchline.
Right. So and then, of course, here's how you do it. Here I am, Slick, Mr. Slick. Watch this move. You have a card? Because then...
Yes, I do.
when I need a car, I'll just call you and we'll do the trick.
Absolutely.
I love this trick.
Anytime.
Hey, well, you got a nice car. You're very nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name's Adam.
Adam, nice to meet you, Adam.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, I got the big question, the big closer.
Hold on. Am I smooth or what?
Okay, Mr. Smooth, did you give her a disc?
Yes, and wait, and I gave her one of those slick new No Agenda Vista print cards with No Agenda on one side and the QR code on the other.
Yeah.
And
Okay, I'm sorry. I even thought that.
Well, she didn't say any. Well, she didn't say anything
to you because I was going to be under the complete assumption you had again failed to hand out a disc when you had the opportunity.
I handed out the disc. She looked at it and then looked at the card and she went, "Oh, okay." I don't think she has a CD player.
She has a CD player.
I don't have a CD player.
Well, she's got one in the car.
No, modern cars. I don't think that it's an option now.
Well,
I don't think they all have CD players. Anyway, so I thought we learned a little bit from our Uber experience.
Absolutely, but it was enjoyable.
And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say, in the morning to you, John C., where the C stands for the Canal in Nicaragua, Dvorak.
And in the morning to you, Adam Curry. Also, I want to say in the morning to all the ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, the subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
And in the morning to everybody in the chat room, noagendastream.com. Good to see you all there. They like it. They like it. They want CDs, too. In the morning to our artists, we had 20-watt bulb come back once again with, was it 20-watt bulb? Yeah. That guy's good. His art is always good. Although we didn't have a lot of choice.
No, we had 4.
I'm not quite sure what happened there. And
the uploader, we believe, wasn't working properly.
The Tom Tato episode with the Grexit logo, as in the Greek exit, which was nice. Original work.
It was cute.
Yeah, we love the really, truly original work. It was more than cute. It was cool. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com is where you can start uploading. We always give our artists full-on credit in the opening of the show, as we do with our executive and associate executive producers. These are the people who are really blazing a trail for us and keeping us going. And, of course, we will thank all of our donors, $50 or more later on in the program. Who do we have?
We have a few. Let me take a look here. Hold on one second. This doesn't help. All right, we have a few. We got a couple, 1, 2, 3, 4 executive producers, including Marky Bohoy in Bradenton, Florida, at $333.33. And he says, yeah, drunk. So let me see if I can do this. Yeah, drunk. 40th birthday party. Bourbon makes me not sober. This will take me over the threshold of knighthood. Do we have him down as a knight? I would like to be Sir Haggis of the Devil's Toilet. Yeah, Florida. It's where the sunshine goes to die. I would like to add some dreams and dreamt to. And then it ends.
What? What is he asking for?
I don't know.
I see him here. No, he says drama and DMT. That's what it is.
Drams. It says drams.
I think it's a slip. The A and the S are next to each other.
Drams. He wants drams.
Drams and let's say drams and DMT then.
Some DMT too.
All right, Marky Boy.
Give Marky Boy some karma, and we'll worry about it. Absolutely. Later.
You've got karma.
Massimo Cattaneo in Noosa Heads, Queensland, Australia, 33333 again. In the morning, John and Adam, please accept my donation for the good work you do. All I ask of you is a dose of karma for me, for all the feet in the air of No Agenda. We all wear a backpack when we fly, pilot included, much to John's annoyance. Yes. Did I bitch about people wearing backpacks on an airplane?
Yeah, when they turn around and bash you in the face.
Knocking everything over. Mm-hmm. I push on it when a backpack comes near me. I push as hard as I can. Backpack away from me. I do.
We know you do.
Much of us wear a GoPro camera on the helmet. Oh, this guy's got to be a beauty. I like this idea. You come in with a big backpack, a GoPro camera on your helmet.
He's a moving target is what he is.
And we literally seat on top of each other at 10,000 feet. We check each other's gear. And before we jump it forward, he's a jumper. Oh, he's talking about he's a parachute jumper. Before we jump at 14,000, we always wish each other well with a high five and a fist bump.
Oh,
at 4,000 feet after the
fist bump.
That's nice.
At 4,000 feet after the parachute has opened and all is well, I always look down at my feet with a big smile, and I can hear John in my head going, "Feet in the air." Thumbs in the water and all the dames and knights out there. Please send a round of karma to all the pilots, planes, and skydivers.
You've got karma.
Huda spot.
Now, Amos Selman's in Tallinn, Estonia, and I don't find an email from him.
Oh.
I mean, maybe you should look.
Amos.
Because he's sending a 33333 from Estonia, of all places.
Yeah, let me check.
We don't have that many Estonians who...
yes, but I do have... No, that's... no, I don't. Let me see.
How about looking up the last name? Let's see.
Yeah.
Celmins. Let me try that.
Celmins. Is that what it is? Selmins? No, I have nothing. I had nothing.
Now, here's his donation. Okay, I got one last one because this is good enough. I think we should check. His email. Nope, it's got his name in his email, so it's not going to be. We're not going to find you. It's Arnis in this. Arnis Selmins.
Oh, okay. So that may be
Arnis.
Okay, well, check on that. And the big board says, no, nothing. Sorry.
Okay, onward. Well, let me clear this first. There we go. Onward to Stephen McConnell in Cortland, Ohio. And I believe he did send something in on email.
Yeah, so you're watching James Bond, you're watching the sports game. You could print out a couple emails.
I think I did, actually. There's where's the other? Yeah, I could. I'm looking through my email printouts.
All right, Stephen McConnell. I have it here. Short and sweet. Feel free to leave this off the air.
I love it.
Please knight me as Sir Steve McConnell. There you go. And he sent his accounting, and he would like a McConnell yell.
Do you have him on the list?
For knighting? Yeah, I believe so. I can check.
The Bucker's not in blue on here.
I don't know. Eric's down there with you, probably. Actually, he's not on the list.
Well, there's good reason for that, because he sent you an email and Eric never got it. Please send the emails when it involves knighting to shill@noagendanation.com, so he will put it on the spreadsheet so we don't have to do this, what we're doing, which is adding it. All right. Finally, going to the associate No Agenda executive producer, Sir Timnonymous, 23456 from parts unknown. Guido Smit in Amsterdam.
You would say Guido or Guido?
Did I say Guido? I said Guido.
You said Guido.
Well, Guido is a very common name. 233. All right. Dear John and Adam, being a boner was becoming too difficult. With the show getting better and better, that's why I decided to finally donate. It's not that I always agree with you, but your analysis often blow me away.
You?
It helps me keep my own perspective on life. Greetings from Amsterdam, and please provide me with some karma.
Absolutely. Happy to do that. Thank you very much for your courage.
You've got karma.
You can go boom shakalaka.
Mark McAvoy of Modesto, California, $200.01. Getting in there with the 1 penny just in case somebody else comes in cheaper. John and Adam, the president of IntelliArmor.com, called me out as a douchebag twice. And he was right. I've been a boner for almost 5 years now. Please accept this donation, which should get you each 100 boxes of mac and cheese. You're welcome. 100 boxes of mac. The mac and cheese is 39 cents. At least we found it that cheap. And it's a dinner. It says dinner on the box. So it's a full dinner for 39 cents. You can get a lot of these for $200, not just 100. He's paying $2. That's too high. Anyway, that's all we got. I want to remind people that we do have a show coming up on Thursday, Dvorak.org/NA, and give us a little help so we get back on track.
Yeah, and I'll give him his karma. And, of course, he wants a little bit of mac and cheese to go with that.
Living the mac and cheese life.
Mac and Cheese by Ayn Rand.
You've got karma.
That was like a shart. You sharted on that one. It wasn't a good one.
I didn't do anything.
Indeed, everybody, thank you very much for supporting us. These credits are real. That means you can use them anywhere credits are accepted, and unlike the phonies in Hollywood, we'll be very happy to vouch for you. And please continue to support us. We got a show coming up on Thursday.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And obviously, we always need you to be out there doing the good work of propagating the formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up.
And use executive producer or associate executive producer on your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It looks good on there. I've seen people that do it.
Yeah. And apparently, if you have the premium service, you can see how many people are looking at you. And people say when they add the executive or associate executive producer credit, they get more people looking.
Yeah. What's this all about? And
so I have I signed up. I think I might have had an account, but never a real one. Like I still don't pay for anything. So I said, what the hell? I'll sign up. It's pretty much just replicated Facebook.
Is it?
Yep.
Huh. I wouldn't know.
No, you wouldn't know, but I notice these things, and I'm seeing people who are quote unquote friends on Facebook showing up on LinkedIn. Like, okay, well, what good does this do me?
Well, LinkedIn is for professionals.
Yeah.
It's not for kids.
Well, everybody's a professional.
Not necessarily. If you're a student, you're not a professional unless you're a professional student, which is...
I have no Facebook friends who are students. I don't do that.
You have no Facebook friends who are students?
I don't think so.
Huh.
I don't maintain my... From time to time, people go, if you're reading this, then you're still my friend. I've cleaned up my Facebook. Like it's spring cleaning or something.
If you're reading this, you're still my friend?
Yeah.
Why don't you send a note to the other people? You're not my friend anymore, chump.
You can't do that. You can't do that after you've unfriended them. They won't see it.
Oh.
It's all right. My ex has completely blocked me from Twitter, from Facebook.
Oh, that's shameful.
That's kind of sad.
Well, let's see. What would you? I got two things I'm on. I got a little Hillary, because of course there's a scandal going on.
Yeah. And now these scandals, I do want to remind everybody. I see lots of tweets about it. When it comes to the Clintons having to resubmit their taxes, and with that I mean the Form 990 for the IRS for the Clinton Foundation. This is something we've been on for years. In fact, when the money for Haiti was being funneled through the Clinton Foundation, as well as that big one in Texas, I can't remember. It was for the Bush. The Bushes maintained that one. They were so late with their Form 990, they were beyond the October 16th deadline. And, of course, they never ever found any money. And there's just all kinds of stuff going on.
Sketchy.
But it's also stuff we've looked at, we've laughed at, we've scoffed, and now the mainstream media is going, oh, look at this. My God, I'm shocked. Good. I'm shocked. There's all kinds of shenanigans going on there.
Well, it's becoming an interesting story because she was supposed to, just in a nutshell, I think I may have the nutshell clip here.
I have a backgrounder.
Backgrounder, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Not the Armenian background, the other one.
Let me just double check.
Yeah, Hillary won.
Well, Hillary won. Backgrounder. Backgrounder.
Two news reports out today are raising questions about Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation. The New York Times reported a company now known as Uranium One sought approval to sell control of the company to Russia's Atomic Energy Agency. The owners of that company donated $2.35 million to the Clinton Foundation. The State Department, headed by Hillary Clinton at the time, signed off on the sale. Also today, Reuters reported the Clinton Foundation and another family charity are refiling at least 5 annual tax forms due to errors. The foundation failed to include tens of millions of dollars in donations from foreign governments. Spokespeople for Clinton and the Clinton Foundation insist there is no wrongdoing.
No, there's no wrongdoing.
Don't look over here. Nothing to see here. Look at that.
Here, play Clinton 2 and we'll get a little deeper into it.
Okay, Clinton.
It's on the other list.
Yeah.
I'm shocked to find that tax evasion's going on here.
Well, we're joined now by New York Times Washington bureau chief and its political editor, Carolyn Ryan, and Reuters reporter, Jonathan Allen, who broke the story. And we welcome both
the story?
Carolyn Ryan.
Let me go read some Form 990.
I have to clarify what that means. There's a second. The story he broke is that they're refiling all the forms. The other one, she's got the big story, the woman who, by the way, when they started playing, I said, oh, this is a Hillary one. She's going to be defending her. But no, the New York Times is one of the group. I think there's this concerted effort to derail Hillary's campaign. I think the New York Times is part of it.
I completely agree. I'm seeing the same thing. And even last night at the dinner, they were making all kinds of jokes about Hillary. How she'll be president right after Israel donates to the Clinton Foundation.
Good joke.
Yeah.
And its political editor, Carolyn Ryan, and Reuters reporter, Jonathan Allen, who broke the story. And we welcome both of you. Carolyn Ryan, let me start with you. The New York Times story today does describe a wealthy Canadian businessman. He's the chairman of this company that owns significant uranium mining interests in the United States. He also happens to be making large donations to the Clinton Foundations. And then it turns to the move by the Russian Atomic Energy Agency to buy controlling interest in that company. Fill us in from there.
Well, the nub, essentially, the ethical issue here is that this panel, U.S. government panel, was overseeing and had to sign off on this deal. And the donations that you speak of were not disclosed by the Clintons as they agreed to do as part of the agreement that they set up with the Obama administration when Mrs. Clinton became Secretary of State. So it was multi-million-dollar contributions that were not disclosed leading up to this key vote on whether this deal could go through.
And what is the Clinton campaign, what is the Clinton Foundation saying? We do have one statement that I guess they put out late this afternoon with regard to the Russian effort, which was successful, to buy a controlling interest in this company. It said Hillary Clinton herself did not participate in the review or direct the State Department to take any position on the sale of Uranium One, this company. Is that pretty much all they've said?
Well, some of their answers have been quite general, and they haven't answered a lot of our direct questions. This panel is one of the few in the United States government and the federal government that is actually exempt from public records. So we're not able to get any notes or minutes of these.
Wait, which panel is that?
I don't know. Some panel of competitive thing when there's someone foreign company is going to take over an American company, I guess.
Okay.
It has there's some panel that looks at it and says, yeah, this is okay, but it's directed by the State Department. Hillary says there's none of this happened, just a coincidence that the guy who owned the company and wanted to sell it to the Russians was throwing money at the Clinton Foundation.
Coincidence.
And what the Russians bought, by the way, this makes this interesting, the Russians bought 20% of our American uranium reserves.
Yeah. Well, this is how it goes.
Coincidence? I think not.
Of our direct questions, this panel is one of the few in the United States government and the federal government that is actually exempt from public records. So we're not able to get any notes or minutes of these proceedings, and we don't know a lot about the deliberations on the panel. So they have not provided us with a lot of information about what went on within the State Department about that.
You know, so this kind of reporting you rarely see from American journalists. In fact, this is the kind of thing you see on, what is that blog, that Russian blog, The Saker? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. It's like, this is borderline RT stuff. This kind of thing, they just don't do that kind of research. So this is a setup.
I believe there's something to it. Whatever the case, we have, and I said it again, we have Judy Woodruff here deciding to sink the thing. And this is the clip 4. I'm going to skip clip 3.
Wait a minute. Judy Woodruff is trying to sink the story to protect Hillary?
That's my guess. And I'm going to give you the evidence of how I feel this way.
Okay.
She brings up, now this whole thing actually didn't begin with the New York Times. You wouldn't think. It began with this book that hasn't really been released yet by this guy. He's a conservative reporter. He's a very good investigative reporter. Everybody thinks he knows what he's doing. He's not like a phony. And so
is he from the Times? Is he from the Times?
No. I don't know where he's from, but he's legit, is all I can tell. It's like the guy who wrote the book, the Bush family books.
He wrote
It's not him, but it's a guy like him.
Oh, like Russ Baker, you mean?
Baker, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy, Schindler, they name him in the clip. But the woman from the New York Times names him. Judy doesn't name him, which I found suspicious. She would say she asked the question. I'm going to tell you how this goes so you can hear it without having to analyze it. Judy says, "Well, isn't this all because of that conservative writer?" And she emphasizes the word conservative. When the guy's a book writer, he's an investigative reporter. She doesn't say investigative reporter. She calls conservative writer as though there's an agenda with it, not even naming the guy, because in the meeting they say, "Oh, don't name him, then people can look him up and they might buy his book." Yeah. We can't do that.
Peter Schweitzer.
She won't name him. She says he's a conservative writer, and she throws this question, and she says, "Isn't this just from that guy?" And the woman from the New York Times rightly says, "Well, here's what happened. The guy's book, yes, we looked at the book, and we said we looked at the book because he had all kinds of leads that we could follow, and we used those leads." And then she continues with, "And in fact, that book was derived from an original New York Times story in 2008. So it was the New York Times who gave the book writer the idea, and then the book writer had a bunch of leads that they could use in their story, and Judy just didn't say a thing after that."
It's called Clinton Cash, the book. Very no agenda title. Peter Schweitzer is the guy's name, and it's not out yet, I guess. This is all perfect promotion if someone would mention your name and the book.
I want to come back to you quickly, Carolyn Ryan. A part of the New York Times story today, it did say that some of the information in the piece was based on reporting done by a conservative writer who's come out with a new book about the Clintons.
A new book.
How much of the New York Times reporting was dependent on that?
I would characterize that book as really almost a tip sheet or reporting leads. The two reporters at the Times who got involved in this, we have Joe Becker, who's a Pulitzer Prize winner, Mike McIntyre, a Pulitzer finalist just this week. They did dozens of interviews. They gathered a lot of records. And so they really went deep. This is very intricate and difficult reporting, tracing this money. And they really did a lot of original reporting. And I would just note that this whole story began actually in 2008 with a story that Joe Becker did about the Kazakhstan uranium deal. So Peter Schweitzer, the author, the conservative author, was sort of following Joe Becker.
So this guy is interesting. Peter Franz Schweitzer, American author, academic, and political consultant, currently the president of the Government Accountability Institute. What is that?
Yeah.
We got
I'll look it up while you're reading.
Yeah, and look at the board of directors while you're at it. He's a former William J. Casey Research Fellow at the Hoover Institution, also a Breitbart News senior editor at large, which is where he really makes some cash. His bibliography, interesting. Here's some of the books he's written since 1992. Friendly Spies, How Americans' Allies Are Using Economic Espionage to Steal Our Secrets. Victory, the Reagan administration's secret strategy that hastened the collapse of the Soviet Union. Well, this guy should know all about what's going on now. The Next War, which he wrote with Caspar Weinberger. Disney, The Mouse Betrayed, Greed, Corruption, and Children at Risk. Well, that's almost as good as my Pipelines and Pedophiles.
Yeah, it's a goodie.
Reagan's War, the epic story of his 40-year struggle and final triumph over communism. The Bushes, A Portrait of a Dynasty, co-authored with Rochelle Schweitzer, maybe his wife. Do As I Say, Not As I Do, Profiles in Liberal Hypocrisy. Chain of Command, again with Caspar Weinberger. Makers and Takers, Why Conservatives Work Harder, Feel Happier, Have Closer Families, Take Fewer Drugs, Give More Generously, Value honesty more, are less materialistic, envious, whine less, and even hug their children more than liberals. Yeah, I would say he's a conservative author. Architects of Ruin, How a Gang of Radical Activists and Liberal Politicians Destroyed Trillions of Dollars in Wealth in Pursuit of Social Justice. I'd like to read that one. Throw Them All Out, How Politicians and Their Friends Get Rich Off Insider Stock Tips. This guy has no agenda. Land Deals Cronyism. That would send the rest of us to prison. That was 2011. Extortion, How Politicians Extract Your Money, Buy Votes, and Line Their Own Pockets. And then finally, Clinton Cash, The Untold Story of How and Why Foreign Governments and Businesses Help Make Bill and Hillary Rich. Yeah, this is a good timing.
His operation, the Government Accountability Institute, is not a pack of bullcrap in the back. It's basically him and a few other guys setting up shop as a place to receive tips for eventual news stories. It's asking for whistleblowers. That's what it seems to be all it's really doing.
Let's see. They
send your tips here, and I click on it saying whether they're using Patreon, and no, they want tips.
According to the Book of Knowledge, in July 2014, they reported the $1 billion in school lunches is thrown away each year. In December 2013, analysis. Obama's public schedule showed 0 one-on-one meetings between Obama and then Secretary of Human and Health Services, Kathleen Sebelius. So they're taking down Obamacare. And 2012 released a report claiming Obama campaign had been illegally soliciting foreign donations, which is true. Credit card donations from overseas, big ones.
Right.
All right. Well, this sounds like a book I want to read, although it's not like I'm going to be, whoa, I'm so surprised. And quite honestly, I'm very sad about this because you know what all this means with this takedown stuff. I mean, there's only one thing that can stop a full-blown media audit of the Clinton Foundation's finances. There's only one thing.
Two to the head?
Yep, Bill's got to go.
Oh, yeah.
It's time.
Again, so I'm watching Bill. He was talking to, I think, at George Washington University or Georgetown, one of the two. And it was on C-SPAN. I did watch this much.
Mm-hmm.
And he is talking. He's a great speaker, I have to say. I mean, he really has the audience enthralled. And you see all these old middle-aged women in the audience.
Their panties are all in a bunch.
They're staring up at him like this Jesus Christ, and they're holding their hands together in a kind of a ball, and then very slowly, moving their hands like, oh my God.
Did I ever tell you the story about Patricia and Bill Clinton? My first wife, Patricia?
No. I'll take a break from my tale, and you can tell.
Yeah, we were in the Waldorf Astoria in New York. I can't remember what it was for. We were in New York for a couple of days, although we were living in Europe at the time. And her bridge in her mouth had broken or come loose. She needed to go get some glue. This is a great story. And it was really like a big gap, on your front teeth, and then two or three over. So not a pretty sight. So I think we were doing the show. This is why I'm so sure we talked about this. This is years and years ago. Oh, we do stuff I don't remember either. So she goes down. She comes back up, and she's like, "Oh my God, what just happened?" So what? So I got in the elevator, and it was Bill Clinton and two Secret Service guys. And Bill was looking down on her. She was 5'3", and Bill is well over 6 feet. And he's going, "Hey, little lady." He was totally hitting on her. And then she goes, "Hi," and she smiles, but she forgot she didn't have her bridge in. So this big gap to the hi, and he went,
The story could have been better.
Yeah, it could have been better, but that's all I got.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I'm watching him speak. He's skinny as a rail, and he's like, he just looks bad. And his left hand is shaking like a leaf.
Now,
he's not a nervous guy.
Remind me, I have something to say about this. Okay.
And I would suggest that he is getting something. I think, and he has these long pauses where he's.
Okay, I have to tell you now. I've researched this, and I figured out what this may be. And I think we have to play a quick 8 seconds of the last time, which was Thursday, when he said something goofy.
ISIS is a terrorist organization, an NGO.
So Dr. John McDougall, MD, wrote a piece, and he says, we need to understand and show some compassion for Bill Clinton. He is suffering, according to this doctor, from a consequence of heart bypass surgery. And it has a name. It's called pump head, P-U-M-P, pump head. Brain damage during bypass surgery is so common, hospital personnel refer to it as pump head. I think we just call him pump head all the time. The primary cause is emboli produced during surgery from clamping the aorta from the heart-lung machine. This machine pumps blood to keep the patient alive while the heart is stopped during the operation. Unfortunately, this pump also introduces toxic gases, fat globules, and bits of plastic debris into they should have stopped that, into the bloodstream of the patient under anesthesia. Once they're in the bloodstream, these particles migrate to the brain where they can clog capillaries and prevent adequate amounts of blood and oxygen from flowing to the brain. All patients experience brain emboli during surgery, but for many, the damage is permanent. And the what this looks like is, they say, mental, emotional decline, confusion. This sounds like a spot-on analysis to me.
Well, we're seeing some evidence of it for sure, but the shaking, I don't know if that's part of this. But he's got his left hand is shaking noticeably.
I'm sure Nurse Tracy's going to check in a minute. She'll tell me what's going on.
And so I just was kind of taken aback by it. He uses his left hand as for points of emphasis, and he will commonly hold it steady outward like a left-handed handshake.
That's sad.
And it's shaking, which makes me wonder if what's going on with this guy. I mean, we'll see, but it might be, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about going on about this potential of him being murdered.
Why?
I don't know. I just feel, I think it's morbid.
Well, it's very morbid, but it's a Red Book entry, and come on, the Clintons have killed so many of their friends.
Might as well kill each other.
In a duel to the death.
What would be interesting in the scenario is
if
that
Bill killed her first. Oh, man. Can you imagine?
What happened to Hillary? Oh, I don't know.
Unfortunate.
She fell off the balcony.
So do you have a clip of him, or?
No, there's nothing in this clip. It was just it was a very good speech, making a lot of classic liberal points about why things. Oh, I actually do have a clip of him talking about Bill Gates, because it was just like he's talking about the better people that are doing this. The clip is the Clinton, and he's talking about all these great leaders and how their vision is singular and simple and all the rest of it. And by the way, and all as he's talking through this clip, this is Clinton and the Gates Foundation clip. As he's talking, think one thing only: the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has one of the largest stakeholds in the Correction Corporation of America, where they hold prisoners for profit. Prison for profit.
And I'll give you another example. Bill and Melinda Gates.
By the way,
they have a simple.
Oh, stop. Go back to that beginning and listen to when he says, I'll give you another example. Then you hear his mouth is got some. It's got some sort of, but it's
saliva.
Like thick, muddy goo in his mouth. And throughout his speech, you kept hearing. I can't even make the noise the way he does.
Yeah, it's those white strings that are in the corner of his mouth.
Gooey, crappy.
Yeah.
Spit 'em.
Yeah, and the corners of his mouth is probably dark with like residue. Theater of the mind, ladies and gentlemen, is what we do.
And I'll give you another example.
Oh, that's his mouth?
Yes.
Almost sounds like a script crackling.
Bill and Melinda Gates, they have a simple vision. Their vision is that every life has equal value, and therefore we should create a world where people have equal chances. That's their vision, simple.
No, their vision is to kill people.
They have a strategy. We got a lot of money, and we're going to invest it to achieve that vision. But we're going to invest it through people who do things that we can't do.
That's right.
We don't want to hire 100,000 people to implement all these things we fund.
No, we want to kill them.
So, for example, Melinda Gates and Hillary recently announced before she left the foundation that they were going to, all this data research they'd done on the condition of women and the disparities in the conditions of women and men in the United States and around the world.
He needs to change the pH balance of his oral orifice.
Something. He needs to drink some, just wash his mouth out. Ugh. Whatever the case. And he did throughout that. You could hear it. They want equality in all prisons. And they want to imprison most of the men and women, and that we get an equal footing in the prison. I don't know what he's talking about. I thought their main thing was to improve health care for Africans.
No, they wanted
malaria. Now it's prisons.
And this is the robber barons. It's the same thing. We're fabulously wealthy, and we're going to go make the world a better place for everybody, but really just making it better for us. You know, that reminds me when I walk to not you too. When I walk to Joe's Coffee here, which is a old school Austin kind of cafeteria, coffee, sandwiches, alcohol. There's always right by the Violet Crown Theater outside. There's always two people from Planned Parenthood, and I always have a spiffy answer, but they tricked me yesterday. They saw me coming, and so I have to go. They're there almost every single day, so I'm gonna do the following after I explain. So I walk and says, "So how about Nicolas Cage?" That's his opening line, and I was taken aback, and I said, "I save plenty of children, thank you very much." But the next time, I'm going to interview them, and I'm going to ask if they know who Margaret Sanger is. And I get into the eugenics thing with him.
I think this would be good.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. So I was eating my sandwich. I thought, that's what I got to do. Do you know Margaret Sanger? I bet you they don't.
I bet you they do.
Oh, yeah?
I'll right, here we go. Another one of these bets we make.
Which I usually win.
You do. You usually win. Mm-hmm. You win a lot of these bets. It's very disappointing.
Annoying.
But in this case, I will say, and I'll put it down, they're going to know who she is. They're just not going to have the complete backstory.
Right. They won't know about eugenics. I'll see if I can blow their minds.
Blow their minds.
Blow their minds, I tell you. I'm going to try.
And they're going to say to you, I see this whole thing coming.
I'm going to say, do you know who Margaret Sanger is?
They're going to say yes. Oh, I'll be the guy.
Do you know that before Planned Parenthood, she was the director of the Eugenics Society of America? Do you know what eugenics stands for? Do you know what that is? Do you know what the Eugenics Society did? Do you know they sterilized black men in California?
This is exaggerated.
And do you know who
that right-wingers throw at us all the time? You're like the fifth guy today. Okay, we know the story. It's been told to us a million times. So what do you have to add to this conversation, whoever you are?
And that's where I take a twist.
Okay.
And that's where I say the Bruce Jenner transition coming out is a genius move. And I'll tell you why. Because we know the elites of the world want less people no matter what. We hear the United Nations head honcho woman, that's an official title, of climate, she's above the IPCC organization, saying, we have to balance it, but we definitely need less human beings.
Less people.
Less
the
people.
War on people.
And I would say I hear many complete liberals in Austin who say, well, really, we just need less people. These are usually people who have no kids, by the way. And this Bruce Jenner thing, I am so all for it because, look, they want to have less people in the world, and they could go kill us with vaccines and chemtrails. But why not just let the 30% of Americans who have gender or sexuality identity issues, just let them all be gay. Everybody's happy. Everybody gets off. No kids are born. It achieves the same thing. I think it's a good 30, maybe even 35, 40% who will choose an alternative lifestyle and are being encouraged to do so, encouraged to get in touch with their feelings. And I believe this Bruce Jenner, which I thought was fantastic. I watched it with Christina, which is relevant. I thought it was fantastic. It was completely orchestrated. ABC with Good Morning America the next day, or the next Good Morning America would be the exclusive interview. And of course, there will be another event, and that event will be when we finally are, when it is unveiled to us what her name will be and what she will be looking like.
And, of course, the reality TV show, which he hinted and announced.
Absolutely.
Semi-announced.
It's called The Documentary.
He's been working with the Kardashians long enough. He now knows how to do it. And he figures he's going to make a fortune.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a book coming out, which was plugged on the show. And then he also made her commit to bringing him back on in 1 year for further promotion of the reality show.
For season two.
Yeah, for season 2.
Now,
season 2 starts this week. This is the biggest scam I've ever seen. Now, so I recorded lots of it, and I said I only came up with, and I pulled back from actually because you actually, I think the points you just made is good enough. But I pulled back, but there was a couple of clips I still had to throw out because I thought they were interesting clips. This is the great interviewer Diane Sawyer asking some poignant questions.
Do you think she was drunk?
No.
That would have made it. That would have made it better.
It would have been, but it was bad enough. Now I'm going to play these 3 clips. You're going to see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
This is like I have 2 Jenner 3s. Play Jenner 3, the dad.
Okay.
And what about the man sitting next to his mother at the Olympics? Bruce's dad, the athlete, the war veteran, Omaha Beach, 5th Battalion. He died 14 years ago. I had asked Jenner about him back in Los Angeles.
What would your dad say if he were still here?
So that was that. That was a beauty.
That wasn't a beauty.
That was a beauty. And then we have this one. This is the other Jenner 3, the song question. Another great interview technique.
So you can reemerge.
As myself. How simple is that? Isn't that great?
Do you have a song that you play over and over again in your head in this moment?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and it was She's a Lady. Whoa,
now, the song, why would anybody, is Diane Sawyer roaming around town singing songs to herself?
I believe, the way I saw it is, at a certain point, she says, if you were me, what question would you ask? Yeah, that is the sign of an interviewer who is out of ideas and is not getting what she wants. She wanted something else.
Then I thought, there's one last little clip, the shameless joke clip. I believed that this was the mockery, the self-mockery of the whole interview and the whole situation. And it was, I believed it was sexist. It had everything wrong with it. And it was insulting. And I didn't even care about any of this. I thought this was like a guy, who cares? I don't care about Bruce Jenner and what he wants to do, if he wants to live as a woman or not. But I thought this was subtly kind of sick and insulting.
As we leave you tonight, we hope we can all talk together about how we try to understand each other. And we wanted you to know so many people who've known Bruce Jenner sent us messages. His Olympic teammates on the decathlon said they wish him well and will always count him as a friend. And Nikolai Avilov, the Soviet athlete he defeated at the Olympics, said to us he has no problem with how Bruce wants to live his life, and jokingly added, how could I have lost to a woman?
I snorted.
You did that last show, too. You're snorting now.
Yeah, I got to stop.
Yes.
Well, there was the thing I pulled out of it, which is so I watched this with Christina, and it's relevant. Christina, who came out a couple of years ago, and her last long-term relationship was with a transgendered person. So I think she's pretty qualified to comment on this. And so the first thing she said is when she saw Jenner's sister, she said, oh, my God, that's a Republican lesbian. She has it written all over, which I thought was pretty interesting. And, of course, this was more shocking than anything, particularly to Diane Sawyer.
He actually was the first one to say the actual word transgender. I will certainly give him credit for that. But not to get political, I've just never been a big fan of kind of more on the conservative side.
Are you a Republican?
You're a Republican? What? And he looks around.
Yeah,
hello. I mean, are you a complete moron, Diane? Are you a complete idiot? You didn't see this? You interviewed his sister. Come on.
Is that a bad thing? I believe in the Constitution.
No. It's just no. It's just we Republicans are anti-gay, and her brain, just smoke coming out of her ears, John. She couldn't figure out what to do with this.
Maybe unsettling thing for some people in the conservative wing of the Republican Party.
Stereotype, why don't you?
Yeah, really, really Lane.
Let's stereotype the Republicans.
So Christina watched
this. Make sure you vote Democrat when Hillary runs.
Christina watched this with me, and she said she felt the entire thing was incredibly patronizing. And I said, well, is that just because you already know all this stuff and you're a part of the community? She says, no, this is the way you teach people in grade school. She said it was so obvious. She was complete. She loves Bruce, and thanked him for his courage. But she thought the entire setup by ABC was really, really patronizing, really trying to teach the stupid, retarded American public something.
And that's why I think they had that joke at the end that I pointed out as I thought was sexist. Yeah.
And I'll take her word for it. I agree. There was so much education going on about it, and it's like, I'm with you. This is a private matter, but okay, whatever you want to do, I don't care.
Yeah, he just wants to make bank on it because that reality show, he knows what kind of money those Kardashians have made. He got a lot of it too.
Let me say,
we're talking lots of money.
This is, of course, a phenomenal story. I remember Bruce Jenner, the Olympics, Montreal, and he was like Tony Stark. I mean, he was handsome. He kicked ass. He was amazing, and he embodied Americana. And the other thing I'll say is, in the world in general, I believe the United States is a lot more accepting than we get credit for. We're seen as the big, evil, anti-gay, anti-anything but the norm.
We're second to Russia.
Crazy nut jobs. And there's only 12 or 13 states left who are yet to recognize same-sex marriage. And again, this is all part of, I mean it. I mean, first of all, I don't care. Yeah, it's all fine. Whatever you want to do. Depopulization, yes.
Not depopulation.
Is it not depopulization? Depopulation?
Depopulation. I believe it'd be the way it would go.
It's better than killing people.
Yeah, which we'll talk about in a little while with the Armenian genocide, which is being misreported left and right. I want to talk about that. But let's play the rest of these clips because this became a barrage, and which kind of backs you up in your idea that this is part of a scheme. Let's let's turn everyone into like not reproducing as much as we can. And so we have all these stories that showed up on all the other news outlets.
I'm telling you, it's at least 35% that have not come to terms with their gender identity or sexuality. I think this will spur it on. This is it's very sad because I don't know who's going to be taking care of me when I'm old and decrepit because we'll have no kids working. But okay, at least the Earth will be safe.
The Earth.
Okay,
let's play the transgenderism on News Hour 1.
Now we turn to the first in an occasional series on changing attitudes about being transgender in America. A new survey from the Human Rights Campaign shows more Americans, 22%, say they know or personally work with a transgender person. That's up 17% from a year ago. Hari Srinivasan has the story of one person's transition and his efforts to change thinking and perceptions.
The soccer fields at Choate Rosemary Hall in Connecticut turned into an outdoor classroom of sorts this past Sunday. High schoolers from area boarding schools gathered for the 5th annual conference on sexual minorities and straight supporters, or SMAS.
It's really nice to see that written into the rule book.
Yeah. Into the rule book?
Yeah, SMAS.
Wait a minute. SMAS?
Yeah, sexual, I don't know what it means. I couldn't find any reference to it. They just threw it into the story.
I thought it wasn't it SMAD? I thought it was SMAD.
No, SMAS.
SMAS?
Play it back, SMAS. SMAS, or maybe 2 S's.
Hold on, let me roll that back a little bit. I never heard of this. I want to know what.
And then
it
we
is.
have to always make.
Hold on, let's listen.
Say they know or personally work with a transgender person. That's up 17% from a year ago. Hari Srinivasan has the story of one person's transition and his efforts to change thinking and perceptions.
The soccer fields at Choate Rosemary Hall in Connecticut turned into an outdoor classroom of sorts this past Sunday. High schoolers from area boarding schools gathered for the 5th annual conference on sexual minorities and straight supporters, or SMAS.
It's really nice to see that written into the rule book.
Yeah. SMAS, SMASS. However, if I look at the Urban Dictionary, SMASS, the act of rubbing the sweat from your ass, then smacking someone in the face with the same hand. I'm all in.
There's bits of that going on.
I'm shocked there's SMAS going on here.
And then local news stories we have, like the gender and depression. This is all piling on in terms of getting the public.
Get people on some more good pharmaceutical pills, baby.
Yeah, that's the bonus.
Kids aren't the same on the inside as they present on the outside. That's because research shows children who are forced to conform to gender stereotypes are 5 times more likely to be depressed, 4 times as likely to attempt suicide or use drugs, and twice as likely to contract HIV.
Gender is a really unique thing to each person that unfortunately in our system has been put into these really rigid boxes of male and female, boy and girl, that on an increasing level don't work for a lot of people.
No one knows just how many children struggle with their gender, but Joel Baum says the number of schools looking for help is growing.
By the way, something else Christina said, which I have to just remember. So there's consensus now because she talked with all her friends here in Austin. And so Bruce is, for all intents and purposes, straight. And they continuously said, or Diane continuously said in her voiceover, gender identity has nothing to do with sexual preference. But pretty much everybody here in the CC, the Christina community, agreed that he'll flip. And once he's transitioned, he'll be into dudes. That's what she said. And by the way,
he was kind of brought up as a
he might be really cute as a woman. I'm thinking he might be pretty good looking.
I'm not seeing it.
I'd bang him.
He just looks like a Berkeley chick, Max.
little vocal fry and hey baby.
Meanwhile, of course, we have there's new studies showing that a lot of the chemicals in the environment are actually, and I think they're
like the plastic bottles also.
That BPA, whatever that was, but the big one, and I will have some clips from this. I just have never been able to clip it properly. But in 2002, a Berkeley professor found that atrazine turns male frogs into female frogs to the point where they actually produce eggs.
And where do we find atrazine?
It's one of the nation's top-selling weed killers.
Is it a Monsanto product?
Have an effect on males. It turns males into women.
This plays right into my theory.
Okay.
Is this a Monsanto product?
No.
Let's find out.
It's a what's the name of the company? It's not Og Vorbis. It is Novartis.
Novartis.
They changed their name to something else. But there's a professor here at Cal who did a study and found all these anomalies because he was sent to work on them because they knew something was wrong with this stuff. And as soon as he discovered all these things, they pulled the money. They sent out a hit team to defame the poor guy, and all this stuff's been going on ever since. And it's like nobody's whatever serving the needs of the elites.
And do we play this from a guy from Harvard?
No, Guy from Harvard is another clip. I don't have the clip. I'm working on getting some clips from this guy's discussion. Well, the guy from Harvard is a dickless guy who is, because he's a woman. And
hold on a second. Wait a minute.
There's nothing to hold on about. You said a dickless guy. He's a dickless guy because he is a guy. There is no doubt about it. If you see him, he looks like a guy. And when he talks like a guy. He gesticulates like a guy.
He's transgendered from woman to man.
Yes. Okay. And he's decided not to. He hasn't gone any further. He hasn't had, whatever they do to put a new phallus on him. So he's got a vagina, But if you met the guy and hung out with him, you wouldn't think anything other than, I mean, this is a good example of possibly, this is, I think, one of the better examples of a guy it's a guy. It just happens to be in a woman's body. And he just decided to go and...
I like the Navy SEAL that went from male to female.
Yeah, that seems more common than this, but just listen to this guy and tell me that there's not an indication in a million years, with a lot of those guys you're talking about, like the SEAL probably, they look like guys in drag. They never look like women.
No, that's not true.
Some of them do, I'm agreeing, but most of them don't. They look like guys in drag. I don't care. I could go through 20 pictures with you, and you tell me I'm not right on this. This guy is a guy.
You must be looking at different websites than I do.
I can look at any websites, except for there are spectacular looking transsexual women. Yes, I'm not going to say that, but just go to the average. Just look around more, and you won't give me the numbers.
I really don't spend my time looking around to see if people are transgender.
This is a topic of conversation.
Yes, which, by the way, this conversation, the way we're talking, never, ever, ever in 100 million years will you have this on mainstream.
No, we won't.
Media.
You won't, because they're dominated by advertisers. They're corrupt. The woman down the
and you can't just have a conversation from all angles.
Correspondents' dinner couldn't even say anything bad about NBC.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
All right, Harvard guy.
Yeah, Harvard guy.
And to see the words like gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender students at Choate. And I said, oh, they exist. It seems like the simplest thing in the world, but it can be...
Alex Myers was one of the speakers. He's the first conference presenter to be transgender, and he uses his life story as a way of educating others about transgender issues.
I was pretty much a normal little girl.
Alex grew up as Alice in the small rural town of Paris, Maine. He went to boarding school at Phillips Exeter Academy in New Hampshire, and in the summer between his junior and senior years came out as transgender, a first for the school. In 1996, he was also the first openly transgender student to attend Harvard University, and he worked to change the university's non-discrimination clause to include gender identity.
I wish that, but of course, in my theory, it'll never happen because the idea is less people. But I wish as equal amount of time and effort and energy and resources and money was put into saving the poor of the United States who are on the street rioting, not because they're mad that a white cops killed a black kid. No, they're poor. They're starving. They have nothing left to do. Nothing. And there's this fake screen of fantastic economy and joblessness lowest ever. No, people are suffering. Put some money and effort into that. This is fine too. It's all good.
You're right. This is a bunch of this is private matters. If you're
for big public profit, private matters for profit for Bruce Jenner and ABC and Disney.
TV,
Disney is fine, and Ryan Seacrest and all. It's fine. That's fine. It's totally fine. And I understand the agenda, but it becomes so clear what you're really doing. Ignore the poor people who usually have a color skin, but there's more poor white people in America.
More poor white and poor white.
But you know what? I think black people, black Americans are they're pissed off, and they're pissed. And think about that. I mean, I can't really imagine it, but imagine I was black and my president was black, and shit just got worse. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Now, the good news in all this...
It's fucked. Sorry. It's really...
in this thing with the transgenderism and then population control...
Yeah.
Is this atrazine product I was talking about.
There's something good about atrazine?
Yeah.
Yes? Oh, there's good news.
It's used extensively on golf courses. Now, I don't know about you, but I think if we need any population control, we need less golfers.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's pretty good. Well, the thing that I take a little bit of issue with, because I'm interested. I grew up in Amsterdam, and I'm completely open-minded and liberal about it. I like that Jenner said all I want is just people to have an open mind, and I think America can do that. And yeah, on Facebook, people will yell and scream and shout and whatever, but I really truly believe it's a minority. And I love that he said he's a Republican. That just was icing on the cake. But there's this concept of trying to help children transition early on in life. Very early. And I know so many parents whose kids, it's not abnormal for boys when they're growing up to want to play with cook sets and do girly things. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are born in a wrong body.
No, it looks like fun. That's why they want to do it.
Yes.
But it's not because girls want to have fun. Little boys want to have fun.
But this is from very early age. This is a lot of these news stories that I see. Let's help them transition into who they really are early on.
Well, there's also these Berkeley style women who he likes to play with dolls. Make him wear a dress.
Right.
I mean, they promote the idea, and they get the kids all screwed up. He's wearing a dress for no apparent reason, and everyone says, hey, you shouldn't be wearing a dress. Oh, you shouldn't be telling me gender identification issues. I can wear a dress if I want to because my mother told me to.
Exactly.
Because she wants me in a dress.
Exactly.
It's a mess. This is no good.
And
these are all your Austin liberals, by the way.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. So there's a lot of mind control taking place on our children. And I do want to warn for this, not because I'm against any choices any person makes, but it's very easy to suggest things and put people on paths that they may later regret. But I just see tons and tons of mind control, and actually this is an interesting clip from and I'm going somewhere with this, unless you have more about, I think I'm kind of.
No, I got nothing. You're on your own.
This is a kid's show. It's called Bubble Guppies. And this entire Bubble Guppies episode is, well, you'll get the idea.
Excuse me, sir.
Uh-oh. Is there a problem, officer?
I'm afraid there is. It's against the law to sing and swim upside down while purple, sir. And you're bumping into things. I'm afraid I'm going to have to give you a ticket.
Tickets are a reminder that you have to follow the rules.
There you go. For the most idiotic things. Tickets are a reminder you've got to follow the rules.
I'm a rule follower, so if the rule is that we have to do it, then I'll do it.
I'm a rule follower, right? What do? Are you a rule follower?
No, we are certainly not rule followers here. So there's this programming going on, and I just don't think that's the correct way to talk about the police. And there's a lot of strange worship in this cartoon about law enforcement. And this leads me to Bill Nye, the science guy, who is not a scientist. He's an engineer. Was he an electrical engineer?
I don't recall.
Maybe you should look that up.
I will.
As a part of Earth Day, and this is only just coming out now, he had a sit-down chat with President Obama in Florida. Of all the people who gets to be the conduit, the bridge to the public about climate change, this guy? I mean, the credibility factor is far, far to be found. But he's so hyped up. He's so excited. He's just brimming. He's bristling. He's just his whole body feels good about it. You can see it as he does the intro to this on the White House driveway.
Bill Nye, back from our trip to Florida. The president and I had a very nice conversation about climate change, science education for girls, and especially the future of the U.S. As a guy born in the U.S., as a patriot, I'm just delighted that we are all working together, really at last, on addressing climate change so that we can, dare I say it, change the world. Check out our conversation.
Change the world. He's a patriot. I like that.
He's a mechanical engineer.
Mechanical engineer. Is that a scientist?
An engineer and a scientist, I believe, are not the same.
Okay. Now, he's
closer to a mathematician than a scientist, per se.
Oh,
he doesn't do experiments.
Right. Therefore, he
apparently knows nothing about computer modeling.
Well, that's my point exactly, is that all of the climate change theorem are built on computer models that are consistently wrong. In fact, just to accentuate that, here is a CBS News report with an actual approved climate scientist who was a part of the IPCC.
The back-to-back eruptions of Chile's Mount Calbuco, less than 24 hours of each other, came with little warning, forcing the evacuations of nearly 4,500 residents. But scientists are watching closely for a different reason. Volcanic gases have been shown to have a cooling effect. The massive eruption of Mount Pinatubo in 1991 lowered global temperatures by as much as 1 degree. But they say even smaller eruptions like this one in Chile can also make a difference.
It's like a mirror.
Allegra Legrand is a climate expert with NASA.
Once these gases make it to the stratosphere, they're converted into particles that literally reflect the sunlight and prevent the sunlight from coming into the Earth's surface and warming it up. This is a small component of why we're not as warm today as the climate models predicted we would be 7 years ago.
Oh, gee. So she admits that the outcome of the predictions are incorrect currently. That's the first time I've heard it on a mainstream.
I think somebody screwed up to let her on.
They shouldn't. Yeah, we'll never hear from her again. So here is the plan, the setup. As Bill Nye and the president he's not really being interviewed. He actually turns it around immediately and starts interviewing him, which is always a bad sign if you're a true media professional and you're interviewing someone. But it was more a chat, and this is all about getting them early.
Scientific literacy generally, and encouraging young people to be excited about science. You're the science guy. This is your demographic. These are my people. These are your peeps, as they say.
It's your peeps. It's your peeps. It's your peeps.
Focused all the time on getting young people excited about science. What have you learned about what works, and why do you think it is that our schools are not more successful in getting kids excited about science, technology, engineering, math,
STEM,
particularly when it comes to girls, but also when it comes to
because it's boring. That's why girls don't want to do it. It's boring.
African Americans, Hispanics. Where do you think things are breaking down? Because kids naturally are curious. They love tooling around and figuring stuff out. What happens?
Well, our problem, you have to invest in science education, and the very compelling research. 10 years old is about as old as you can be to get the so-called lifelong passion for science.
Mm-hmm. Now, is this true, John? Is it after 10 you can't influence a child? Is that a generally acknowledged fact?
I never heard this.
And it seems to me it's about as old as you can be to get a lifelong passion for anything.
Right.
Like, when did you want...
I don't know. I got a lifelong passion for amateur radio, for flying, all kinds of stuff. After
the amateur radio one was recent.
Lead and change things.
I might be. I was kind of late bloomer. I think it wasn't until I was like 45 I decided I was going to do something with my life.
When he was chosen by the elites. But here it is. This is the bit where they actually come out and say it.
You want to catch kids around 10 years before they're 10,
and it's easy.
Right? It's easy. Yeah, catch them, catch the little critters.
This is the thing. We want. For my side of it, we want science in every day in every grade.
Sure.
So there's a huge opportunity for us because teaching science elementary level is very inexpensive.
Yeah. Let me recommend some other things like music and pasting stuff and woodworking and reading, drawing stuff and having all kinds of kicking a ball.
Kicking a ball is probably more valuable than anything.
Kicking a ball. No, you got to catch them. Catch those kids early. Catch them, and program them, which is okay. Fine for me. And then the final clip here, in which the president, we've gone from global warming.
By the way, this Bill Nye guy, according to the wiki page, all in on the idea. Apparently in 2005, he was all in about the 2005 Atlanta hurricane season, and how the giant hurricanes will be every year are going to get pounded, devastating hurricanes.
Yes, John, but this has changed because of the volcanic eruptions.
Don't you remember the giant hurricanes are going to be every year? It's going to be worse than ever. The hurricanes,
John.
The science is in. Science.
Now the president does something very interesting here, which he truncates the term into something which now it's just gone nuts.
When you're making decisions around important issues, make sure that you take science seriously. I mean, when I see members of Congress being part of the climate denier clubs.
Climate denier clubs. I don't think anyone denies this climate. Now we don't even say climate change. We say climate denier. I deny climate. I deny climate. I denounce climate.
Wow.
The climate denier club. Okay.
And so now they're trying. This is great. This is a propagandistic methodology.
Absolutely.
You take the word climate change, and you just use the word climate, and then you promote the idea that climate equals climate change because it's used in the way it used to be used when you meant climate change. So now it's just climate. So using simply the word climate implies climate change. It's fantastic.
Climate change is real.
It's real. It's real. It's real.
Being part of the climate denier clubs. And basically stiff-arming what we know are facts.
Fact! And yeah, the fact is the models are wrong. That's the fact. That's the fact.
And not rebutting them with other facts, but rebutting them with anecdote or just being dismissive.
And I'm not a scientist.
I'm not a scientist. Well, I'm not a scientist either, but I know a lot of scientists. I have the capacity to understand science. I have the capacity to look at facts and base my conclusions on evidence.
That's right.
That's right.
Did I say he wasn't a scientist, or was he just mocking people who do?
Oh, he's mocking Republicans. Yeah. And the thing that is just so disappointing is that this just, it's when the president says it, how can you refute the president? You're a moron.
He's the moral leader.
Although I will say, we have an official big time Obama bot dinner coming up next week, which
why is it any different than the other ones? Why is this one big time?
Because Russ and the brain professor and his wife, they moved to California.
Coming out?
He's at Stanford, yeah. So they're coming out, and we already have everything set up, yeah. And I can't wait to say, hey, remember when and you're all in on Richard Engel being his cell phone being hacked in Russia? Richard Engel, who you said was such a great journalist, remember that? Here, read this.
He must be I'm surprised they haven't shot you by now.
No.
Okay, you like guns? You like guns?
No,
Adam, here, look at this one. Oh, sorry, boom.
No, they're afraid of guns. None of them have guns. They're afraid of them.
Well, even though
the professor is he's from East Texas. So there's a little Texan hiding in there, suppressed by his environment. It's very sad.
Very sad. Man should be gun toting. I don't know what the hell the problem is, what happened to him, but it's sad.
May I congratulate you, John, on 2 hours, more than 2 hours, and not a single time have you said the dreaded yeah, no.
Yeah, no. That's how you said it, no.
Yeah, no.
You're saying yeah, while you're saying no.
Yeah, no.
You know.
Yeah, no.
I don't know why you're saying yeah while saying no.
Yeah, no.
You know.
Yeah, no.
I don't know why you're saying yeah while saying no.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, outstanding.
No. Isn't that great?
Yes, very Beatle-ish. We have a Beatle. Who is that? The same guy who did the other Beatle songs?
No, this is, and I wanted me to, this is the Night of the Living Dead who did this for us.
The Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, you recall the Night of the Living Dead. Outstanding piece of work. And of course, it's just a part of our love for the Beatles.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab.
Yeah, on No Agenda.
Woo-hoo.
In the morning.
We do have some people to thank, and we're going to thank them.
Smash them.
Beginning with Sir Andrew Holcomb in Ann Arbor, Michigan, $111.11. Sir Andrew, protector of the bound book.
Ah, yes.
He says you should go to the Book People in Austin.
Yeah, I've been. It's fantastic.
Oh, okay.
It's fantastic.
What is it?
It's a bookstore.
Oh. Brandon Chisholm in Vallejo, California, $100. Oh, by the way, Andrew was $111.11. Grebulon in Tel Aviv, $100.
Oh, wait. It's not in red, but it should be.
He's got a birthday call-out coming.
And a douchebag call-out to Max.
A douchebag call-out. Hey, douchebag call-out to Max.
Douchebag.
There you go.
Whoever Max is. Sir Mark Pugner is back with $100, parts unknown. Eric Asbury in Brandon, Florida, $89.10. Fabian Meyer in Switzerland, Zurich, $77.77. And he says your title comments in German are hilarious. Sei nicht so speisig.
Spießig. Sei nicht so spießig.
Spießig. Okay, well, my German's not what it should be. Sir Herb Lamb in Sugar Hill, Georgia, $71.50. Chris Moore in Findlay, Ohio. Sorry.
Kom hier met een gale futje.
John Tirada in Pasadena, California, $69.69. Robert which still depresses me that we lost one of our overboard people.
Wait a minute. Wait. Who did we lose?
We obviously lost our woman in Germany, the jogger with the
who started the Swazelnot.
Man overboard! Robert girl. Dawson in Tainan. Really, I bet you it's Taiwan City. Taiwan, but it says Tainan. 6666. Joseph Tisch in Spartanburg, South Carolina, 5678. This will crap out rather quickly today.
Yeah.
Donald Kuhl in Windham, New Hampshire, 5555. David Dietrich in Round Rock, Texas, double nickels on the dime, along with Josh McDonald, double nickels on the dime, parts unknown. Eric Hokel in Berlin, Deutschland, $52. Ronald Maxden in Columbus, Ohio, $50. The rest of these are all $50 donors. Brian Evans in Berwick, Victoria, Australia. Sir Mark Abbott in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Fleet Larson, that's a great name, in Bettendorf, Iowa. Shad Rich, $50, parts unknown, and Abednego. Tim McKinney in Edmonds, Washington, $50. Has offered me a free lunch if I ever go on the ferry up there. Brian Matthews in Babriggan, Dublin, Ireland. Robert Crows in... It would be Crows, too, I'm
Cruz.
sure.
Cruz.
Robert Cruz.
In Kralendijk. And he's in Bonaire. I need to go there.
In Bonaire, the islands.
Yeah, where Lex has the place.
Antilles.
I got to go down there again.
Yeah, go down and say hi. He'll probably buy you a beer.
Well, the problem is it's crappy internet there. It's very hard to do the show.
Yes, it was that's right. It was a disaster. Eric,
I don't know about disaster.
Yeah, oh yeah. Eric Mann, parts unknown, $50. And finally, Sir Mark Tanner, our regular from Whittier, California, $50. That concludes our donors. I'm also supposed to mention the name Karen out of the blue, which I did, but that'll be more important next show.
And we are almost done with our Fletcher Fest. We have one more show?
I believe so. One more show, and then Fletcher, we bring in the new guy.
Yeah, we're going to bring in the...
Piggott.
Piggott with the shocked. Let me just check the calendar for a second, John. Let me see. Today's the 26th. Okay, so the 30th's on... but we have two more shows. Yeah.
No, it ends on the 1st, and we play them on the 5th.
Oh, okay. All right, good.
It ends on the 1st.
No, we don't. The 5th is a Tuesday.
Well, we play them on the 5th show, which is the Thursday.
So right. So then you can still do Sunday the 3rd, or is that...
In your humble opinion.
Well, okay.
Well, let's just say it's winding down.
And Fletcher's already sent me the ones for today. That guy, he's so on the ball. And that will be his knighting ceremony
as well. He does art once in a while.
Mm-hmm. And he will be knighted for all of his work, for helping out the best podcast in the universe. And thank you very much. Also, thank you to everybody who came in under $50, which for time reasons and also for anonymity, certainly for anonymity, we leave those for what they are. But a lot of people on the 12-12 still, I think, 11-11s, 33s, some even with 5 or 4s. Everything is appreciated. Thank you very much. It is, after all, your program. Nowhere can you get this type of analysis, this type of discussion, and it's all because you are consuming a product that you are directly responsible for, and we highly appreciate it.
Dvorak.org/NA.
A little bit of karma for everybody.
Tickets are a reminder that you have to follow the rules.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
And we say happy birthday to Marky Boy. We believe he's turning 40, and Marky Boy also wants to congratulate Ewan, and Stacy, and Grebulon celebrating today. Happy birthday from all your friends here at the best podcast in the universe. It's your birthday, yeah. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, John.
Is it 4?
4 nightings.
Yeah, we had to push one off to Thursday.
Make sure I didn't put that one on. Hold on. I'm pretty sure I did the right thing there. Hold on. Let me check your note. Yeah. You were so mad. Someone came in after midnight.
I wasn't mad. You say that. It's because I wrote in all caps.
Yeah, that's kind of that kind of means mad in my book.
Well, I was mad at myself.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm the one who created the misperception that he should have been knighted on today's show.
Okay, so
but he shouldn't. He needs to be knighted on the next show because otherwise our books fall apart.
You're just walking around the house grumbling to yourself. Oh, man. Get your blade, man. We need your blade.
Yeah, here it is. Hold on.
Marky Boy, Tom Byrne, Danny Makem, and Stephen McConnell. Come on up to the podium, gentlemen. You have supported the best podcast in the universe, the amount of $1,000 or more. We could not be happier to induct you into the official roundtable of the Knights and Dames. And so I hereby officially pronosticate these Sir Haggis of the Devil's Toilet, Sir Pablo the Squirrel, Sir Danny Makem, and Sir Steve McConnell. For you, gentlemen, we have the usual hookers and blow, rent boys and Chardonnay, drams and DMT, video games and vaporizers, ass cream with bear fillings, bong hits and bourbon, sparkling cider and escorts, and of course, the ever tasty mutton and mead. And go to noagendanation.com/rings and pick up give us your information. I give that to Eric the Shill. And the rings they're getting sent out very quickly now, which is nice. I see people tweeting pictures of their of the ring and of the sealing wax and the official certificate. So it's good. It's working. Very good. And thank you. Year 8, episode 716. Whew.
It's a lot.
It really is. Quite a lot.
And, we got new listeners and old listeners, and we lose listeners, which, especially when they're Knights, it's very disappointing.
People go overboard. It does happen.
I think our friends in New Mexico, for example, were one of the earliest Knights, husband and wife.
In New Mexico?
Yeah, they're in New Mexico. They're very early. This is early, like early. Like first 1 or 2 Knights.
Huh.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about
Caliphate!
We have a marketing exercise underway. Boko Haram has rebranded. They have changed their name to Islamic State in West Africa. And this was a press release, I guess, that went out?
Press release that went through the normal channels.
They had to change the domain name, the email addresses, the logo. Branding is very hard, very, very hard.
They got to change the logos.
And
logos on the arms. And tattoos had to be removed.
And ISIL has said they support fully the decision of Boko Haram and urged its members to extend their activities to West Africa. So if you're looking for something to do, you're looking for a little killing, get yourself a one-way ticket to Islamic State in West Africa. Nice, very nice. Nice job on the rebranding. We'll see how it catches up. Australia, of course, ever since that, the chocolate shop where the guy had the wrong flag, and remember that?
Yeah, he was a screw
terrorist.
That guy.
Well, so they caught another guy. I guess the 6-week cycle cluster now extends everywhere. And they've learned well in Australia. They've learned how to nip something in the bud, catch a guy, say he was going to kill everybody. But this a police official who talks about this in this clip, he really just put the fear into me of how easy it is to be a terrorist.
An 18-year-old man has been charged with planning a terrorist attack in the Australian city of Melbourne following a series of police raids. Inspired by Islamic State, they allegedly planned to target police officers at an event next weekend to mark Anzac Day. That's when Australia remembers its war dead. Michael Phelan is the Deputy Commissioner of the Australian Federal Police.
This is a new paradigm for police. The attacks
These types of attacks that are planned are very rudimentary and simple. And as we've said before, all you need these days is a knife, a flag, and a camera, and one can commit a terrorist act. So it's very different. Wow. It's a different paradigm for us.
I used to carry that around when I was a kid. I had a knife. I also had a compass. I had a compass.
Yeah, I was thinking compass.
A flag. It's the Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts are terrorists.
It sounds like the Boy Scouts. You got a knife, you got a flag, you got a compass, you got a little book. Tells you what to do. And what was the other one?
A phone.
Handkerchief?
A phone. A camera. Camera.
Yeah, it's all Boy Scouts. This is Boy Scouts.
But that is...
Well, the 6-week cycle, and the guy says this is up to prevent stuff in the future, but if you're really, really hard up to catch some terrorists, you know, there's pre-crime, and then there's something I would now call post-crime.
What?
Which is post-crime, which is a crime that was never committed in the past.
Hold on. First, we do the pre-crime jingle.
Before it's a crime, it's pre-crime.
Okay. What are we doing here?
Here it is. This is the odd story about the El Guido in Italy.
Italian police breaking up an alleged al-Qaeda terror cell, arresting 18 suspected Islamic extremists. Officials say 2 of the men arrested were former bodyguards of Osama bin Laden. Police say they also uncovered plans for a suicide bomb attack on the Vatican in 2010. In addition to the Vatican plot, the terror cell is reportedly linked to several acts of terrorism and sabotage in Pakistan, including an attack on a Peshawar market in October of 2009 that killed more than 200 people.
Hey.
Now, so they were planning a terrorist attack on the Vatican, so let's arrest them. But the plan it never happened. Well, how can you do this? 2010?
Yeah.
Hey, look what we found here, Bill. What? The guys are going to blow up it could be a comic book writer for all you know. I just found it weird. Now, I do have a couple of clips about Armenia.
Well,
because
allow me to lead you into this.
Okay, go.
The president made a statement about Armenian Remembrance Day. This has been the big problem. And the statement, I'll give you a little bit of it. This year we mark the centennial of Medjugorje, the first mass atrocity of the 20th. That's probably mispronouncing it. The first mass atrocity of the 20th century. Beginning in 1915, the Armenian people of the Ottoman Empire were deported, massacred, and marched to their deaths. Their culture and heritage in their ancient homeland was erased amid horrific violence that saw suffering on all sides. 1.5 million Armenians perished. So he's pretty much admitting this for the first time, like, wow, what changed his mind? And then a little bit further down, you see a full, frank, and just acknowledgement of the facts is in all our interests. Peoples and nations grow stronger and build a foundation for a more just and tolerant future by acknowledging and reckoning with painful events of the past. We welcome the expression of the views by Pope Francis. There you go. So once the Pope said this is a problem, then the president felt he could do it and say, well, you know, the Pope says it, so I might as well get on board. However, President Erdogan of Turkey is literally slamming nations recognizing Armenian genocide by saying they should clean up their own history books first, including Putin, who did use the actual term genocide. The President Obama did not use the term genocide. If it's going to come down to that, I think we should get over it already, okay?
Well, there's a bunch of craziness with this. I was watching the NewsHour, and they had these guys, these 2 writers on, one of them a Turk.
But they're making up new stories. Sorry to interrupt. Is it literally now about the term genocide? Is that what the problem now is? Is that it? I mean, President Obama, he said it. He said they were massacred. It's a fact. It's true. It's real. He didn't use the term genocide. So is that now the issue?
Yeah. Well, the problem is what we have here is a difference of opinion. What happened, this was a small moment in Turkish history after the fall of the...
Not if you're Armenian, it's not.
What did I say?
Small moment.
It was a small moment in the history of the Ottoman Empire because it had just collapsed and these douchebags took over called the 3 Pashas. And they blamed everything on the Christians. And this was actually a Christian kill all Christians. There was a bunch of edicts. No Christians in Turkey. The Armenians, by the way, 90% Christians for the most part. This is left out of the history books. But all you have to do is read the bad actors, this guy Talat Pasha, and you can read about him. He's in the Wikipedia, Talaat Pasha. who was eventually assassinated when he fled the country and moved to Berlin. And then you should also read Armenian Genocide in the Wikipedia, which is actually quite good. But they had these guys, and it was all because they rousted the Greek Christians, got them out, declared no more Christians, and then they said these Armenians are a bunch of a-holes, are going to fuck with us. Let's kill them all.
Now, I'm sorry to interrupt. So this is the Ottoman Empire is collapsing. These three douchebags get in, and they're the ones that then say, let's move into that territory. Was that the idea?
No, they didn't want to. Well, yeah, they wanted to take over where the Armenians were for sure, but they just rousted them all. Shot as many as they could. They started by killing like 100 or 200 of the top intellectuals that lived in Constantinople, rounded them up, shot them. It's very much like, it sounds a lot like the Holocaust when it's described. You had Kristallnacht and you had all these other these features. This is very similar. And so they want to say this was a genocide, which indeed it was. There was no question about that. But the Turks are like kind of embarrassed about this. Can
I ask you another question? This is a great history lesson, so I want to ask some questions. Teach. Professor Dvorak, can you always identify as a Armenian, are Armenians as identifiable as the Kardashians? And is it a race? Is it what makes you Armenian besides living there?
It's an ethnic group that happens to be Christian.
Okay.
That's not pretty much all there is to it. But this guy, this Talat guy, he was part of an ethnic group. So what the name of it? I would have to look it up.
Do they all have big butts?
Actually, no. Huh. Most of the Armenian women are actually, besides being very pretty, the big butt aspect.
Well, the Kardashians are very pretty. All of them.
Oh, they're super
pretty.
The Armenian women can be outrageously pretty.
Even after 30?
This guy, yes. They're not like, they don't have that gene trait.
Not like the Ukrainians where they get thick ankles.
This guy was a Pomak, which is a Bulgarian Islamist. And he ended up, apparently they're all over that area, and they were all converted Christians some years earlier, and they hate Christians, and it was part of this. This is the untold story. And so what bothers me is I'm watching NewsHour. There's none of the history, and the guy, the male that hosts on NewsHour, is acting like he doesn't know anything. It doesn't take a lot of reading to catch up on this. And let's listen to a few of these things, starting with this Armenia 2, where the Turkish guy sitting there blames the Kurds.
For Turks, this history is tied to the end of the Ottoman Empire and the creation of the modern Turkish state.
Precisely. This was the World War I when the Ottoman Empire collapsed, and as the empire was collapsing, the government of the empire at that time decided to move the Armenians from eastern Turkey, where they lived, into Syria, so from one part of the empire to another part. And the idea would be that they'll be away from the advancing Russian armies. The fear was that the Armenians would work with the Russian armies to undermine the empire. What happened next was a disaster. Hundreds of thousands of people died, sometimes of famine and disease, but usually in the hands of irregulars, Kurdish irregulars and others who carried out attacks. And I think that's really the pain, the core of the issue.
Yeah, someone in the chat room.
The Kurds killed them. Can you believe the nerve of this guy?
I saw that same thing flow by in the chat room. Someone said the Kurds killed them. So this must be some kind of meme that we have missed.
Yeah, the meme is that these douchebags from Turkey are trying to blame everyone but themselves, or they're definitely not blaming the three pashas who are the guys responsible, especially Talat. Everybody agrees on that guy is the bad actor.
Well, let me ask you, Professor, can I ask you another question?
Yo.
If only my professors had said, yo, I might have stayed in college. Why won't the Turks admit it? That's the problem?
Question. Well, here, this guy who is a Turk who said this, that's because they are creating, it's a hugely humiliating situation.
Why? The Germans did this half that time ago, and they're all, hey, shit, we're sorry. And by the way, I sold the bike. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. The Germans are all apologetic if they agree, and wir haben es nicht gewusst and never again, and all this stuff. What's the Turks' problem?
That's the question no one can answer. And now we see they're creating a new mythos based on the Kurds did it. Oh, we had nothing to do with it. It was the Kurds, which is total bullcrap. And by the way, a little side note to this, during this period with the three pashas, that's when an event called the Young Turk revolution took place, which were all these guys, they're all Christian haters.
Oh, that's where Young Turks comes from.
And that's where Young Turks comes from. And you have this Cenk and his buddies using this term, not realizing this is emblematic of the genocide. I don't know why you would pick this up and not know about it. But the Turks are in denial. There's a lot of aspects to this. I don't know why they're in complete denial about this. And that's why the Armenians are just beside themselves, and they're not going to stop bitching about this.
Until someone says...
Okay, here's another example of this happening. The Japanese won't apologize to the Chinese for what happened in Manchuria.
Right.
Well, Manchukuo, as they like to call it. They won't. They refuse to apologize for this.
Is that because
why are they not apologizing?
I don't know.
Same thing.
But you know what? Allow me, on behalf of the Turkish people, Armenians, we are very sorry for the genocide. And I, as a Turkish American,
now you're just irking people.
I hope so. Because this is ridiculous, and the amount of time that's spent and the anger. There was a kid. Rafi. Rafi worked at OnRamp before we turned it into Think New Ideas and took it public. This is 1993 to 96. And Rafi was a good guy, Armenian. He was kind of a goofy guy, which I liked a lot about him. And for some reason, he's one of these people that is still on my Facebook. And all I ever see from him is grief about the lack of the word genocide and the lack of apology. It's like they're very upset, and I get it. I understand.
You don't seem sympathetic in the least.
No.
What if some police? Let's say the police chief of the local town kills your mother. Everybody knows he did it. He did it just because he wanted to, and then everyone talks about it. But he says, "Screw it! I'm not going to apologize. I just killed her." And you're the son, knowing this happened. How would you feel?
Yeah, I would want death penalty to be televised.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Of course, I understand. I just don't understand why. I don't get it. I don't understand why they can't. Sorry. Hey, sorry seems to be the hardest word. Sorry. Move on.
Same with the Japanese.
Yes.
It has something to do with saving.
Well, they
face.
say sali.
This has to do with pride and face saving. I don't know. Something that seems like, we've learned from modern public relations is you say you're sorry as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Why you are laughing?
That's right. Okay. Well, any more on this? No,
story? That was my tribute. There's a couple more clips, but they're the same thing, these guys. But this Kurd thing is the one that got me. Wow.
Yeah.
And then we have people in the chat room who have obviously not read anything about the whole subject, the Armenian massacre. And they're already parroting the bull crap. That's what really bugs me about these chat rooms, and that one in particular.
Really, that's all? That's all that bugs you about the chat rooms?
Yeah. They parrot the mainstream, and then as though they're some. We had a guy that was complaining about our analysis of the body cams that just sent a note in. Yeah. The same kind of snooze. Hey, guys, you're not thinking big enough. It's not about body cams. It's about a national police force.
Federal police.
The National Police Force idea is we lost that about 3 years ago on the show.
Yeah. We tried.
It's called the FBI.
We tried. We hoped, but it just didn't happen. We were really all in for it, ready for it, but no. Well, the SS is the Sicherheitspolizei. I'm sorry, Secret Service. I always find that ironic. Our Secret Service is, the acronym is SS.
Predate the SS.
Yeah. I need to do a quick little Fletcher Fest for the people who donated on Thursday's show.
Shocked I am to find that John Fletcher's screaming in here.
Melody! Morgan Corkill! Trevor Mudge!
It's good we're stopping on time. He'll never work again.
The guy's going to blow out his voice.
At the rate he's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been holding off on doing this because I really didn't have a good interview with him. But I think today is the day.
Now entering second half of show.
That's right, second half of show. I've been following this guy for a while. He is the former Canadian defense minister in the 60s. Paul Hellyer is his name. Ever heard of this guy?
Actually, yes.
Have you seen any of his comedic stylings?
No.
He was on RT with the Shevardnadze, Sylvie Shevardnadze, who I love her. Man, do I love she. Do you think she's related to the Shevardnadze? She must be somehow.
As far as I'm concerned, that's just marinated fish.
So Sophie, she's just super cute, and she does this interview in a mocking voice.
How do you spell Paul's name?
Hellyer, Hellyer, Paul Hellyer, former Minister of Defense for the Scandinavians. And he has been very vocal about the existence of UFOs and aliens on the planet for decades. Actually, in this, I think he says they've been here for thousands of years. And it's like a 40-minute interview. I pulled out 2 clips that I thought would be relevant, both a little bit over a minute and a half. Perfect for the second half of the show. And well, let's see if we can make up our mind about this guy.
The Honorable Paul Hellyer, former Minister of Defense of Canada, and he believes that life forms...
You know, I would love to go on a date with Sophie, but she's got to shut up, or just tone it down. Can you imagine? I don't want the stroganoff!
From space exist and are present on Earth. Why do you say that UFOs are as real as the airplanes flying over our heads?
Well, because I know that they are. They've been, as a matter of fact, they've been visiting our planet for thousands of years. And one of the cases that would interest you most, if you give me 2 or 3 minutes to answer, is during the Cold War, 1961, there were about 50 UFOs in formation flying south from Russia to across Europe. And the Supreme Allied Commander was very concerned and about ready to press the panic button when they turned around and went back over the North Pole. So they decided to do an investigation, and they investigated for 3 years, and they decided that with absolute certainty that 4 different species at least, had been visiting this planet for thousands of years. So that's we have a long history of UFOs, and of course there's been a lot more activity in the last few decades since we invented the atomic bomb, and they're very concerned about that and the fact that we might use it again. And because the whole cosmos is a unity, and it affects not just us but other people in the cosmos, they're very much afraid that we might be stupid enough to start using atomic weapons again, and this would be very bad for us and for them as well.
Are you cracking paper?
It was just a water bottle being smashed.
He goes on talk about a lot of different things. And what was interesting, the entire interview, the whole thing, everything he said was stuff that I had read and researched early on. Because I obviously believe this. I believe that it would be stupid not to think it's a possibility. Just a lot of space out there. Now, I was always aware of a couple of different types of aliens. We have the tall blondes, which he actually calls something different here. The grays, as you know, I was introduced to a tall blonde, which was kind of, didn't really impress me.
You're a tall blonde.
Yeah.
And I've had my suspicions.
Maybe that's what the portal will teach me.
The portal.
There are actually 80 types of aliens.
I used to think there were, between 2 and 12. And Apollo astronaut Edgar Mitchell, who came to Toronto a few years ago and had dinner with us, agreed that it was somewhere between 2 and 12. But the latest reports that I've been getting from various sources are that there are about 80 different species. And some of them look just like us, and they could walk.
They're playing some video under him with the soundtrack way too loud.
Down the street, and you wouldn't know if you walked past one. And they're what we call the Nordic blondes, and also the tall whites.
So he's talking now the Nordic blondes and the tall whites. I think I would be more like a tall white.
That would be you.
That would be me.
Who were actually working with the United States Air Force in Nevada. They're able to get away with that. They had a couple of their ladies dressed as nuns went into Las Vegas to shop, and they weren't detected. And I have a friend who saw one of the men walking along the street, and somebody who would recognize that they were different, and he did. So there are those kind, and then there are the short grays, as they're called, and they're the ones that you see in most of the cartoons. They're have very, very slim arms and legs, and they're very short, just a little over 5 feet.
Ryan Seacrest.
And they have a great big head and great big brown eyes.
Pat Sajak.
If you saw the short grays, you'd certainly know that there was something up that you'd never seen before. But if you saw one of the Nordic blondes, well, you'd probably say, "Oh, I wonder if she's from Denmark."
Mm-hmm. I think I was married to one of those.
Well, that's an interesting clip. So where are you going with it? Let me say something before you answer that. If people want to read an alternative history that I think is the most fascinating of all these books, because the guy who wrote this product, it has nothing but creds. I mean, he's very credulous. He's very credible. Not credulous, credible. This is the Philip Corso book. You can get it as an ebook. It's Philip Corso's The Day After Roswell. Mm-hmm. And his argument about all this is that we're actually, which counters your concept, we're actually at war with these jokers.
Well, he does mention that there are two species that we may be hostile to us, and the rest are all just leaving us alone unless we start lighting up nukes, which is all stuff you can read online. I mean, it's like the guy spent 8 years researching, just
it sounds like he's been online too much. This guy,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, all right, but I think all parents should allow their children the freedom to transition to the alien they are. So if your child is showing, hey, come on, how come we can't deny that? Your child seems very interested in levitation. Yeah, let them become the tall. Was it tall white? Somebody called them
tall white and the blonde,
the Nordic blonde. Yeah.
This would explain the extra bone in the vertebrae of certain long-necked women from the Scandinavian and Nordic countries.
Oh, tell me, I didn't know this.
Oh, yeah. A lot of Scandinavian and Nordic women have an extra bone in their neck. Huh. It's a count. There's so many of these vertebrae. Some people have more than others.
Interesting.
But there's an extra bone notably in the neck of some of these women, and it makes them look their neck looks longer, and it makes them very attractive.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, it could be maybe because of alien genes. I don't know. Why would you have an extra bone in your neck?
I don't know. But I'm very open to this, and I shall be working on it in the portal.
Good. We need to get more of this stuff back. People have been. Now this is a fact. People have been complaining about the show not having enough of this sort of material. Oh, you guys used to talk about all this interesting alien stuff, even though it's bullcrap. It was very interesting and entertaining. They say this in the note with that voice.
Yeah, exactly that voice.
Every time it comes up, I see that. Well, it's not that easy to come up with the stuff that's new.
Well, you can just repeat it over and over again. I'm always open to this. Yeah, I brought up
if you find new material about the aliens. Yeah,
of course,
run it.
Of course. Well, we had the guy who said he had seen the spaceship at Area 51, and the president told him not to talk about it. Who just died? There's people like that. So this could also be Project Blue Beam, which is a fun conspiracy that is often discussed, where we will introduce, and this would fit perfectly with President Hillary. She will introduce us to the.
She doesn't sweat, She could be an alien.
Neither does President Obama.
He doesn't sweat?
Don't you remember that?
Well, I remember Hillary not sweating, and so she never sweats.
Oh, hold on a second. With my new super duper. Let me see. Yeah, it was. I think wasn't it Reggie?
Reggie Love.
Wasn't it Reggie? Let me see. Reggie.
He's talking about that Obama doesn't sweat.
Yeah, and he was in the car. Yeah, don't you remember that? He said he was in the.
It's almost coming back to me, but I don't remember it.
Yeah,
if you have the clip, I'll
I don't. This may be. this may not even be on this machine, these clips. Let me see. If I just look at sweat. No, I don't have that. I'll look for it for the next show. But Reggie Love said that the president would have the either air conditioner off, it would be 85 degrees in the Beast, in the presidential limousine, and the president wouldn't break a sweat at all. Don't you remember this?
No, I don't. Wait, hold on. Ask again, and I'll say the same thing. I vaguely remember something, but I don't remember that. You're going to have to find that clip and pull it, because I didn't know that he didn't sweat. I know Hillary doesn't sweat. Everybody comments on that. She just does not sweat.
Right. I'm looking for it, but I believe it's so old, that clip, that I'll look for it. In the meantime, let's talk some more about Common Core. So these tests everywhere that these kids are doing, they fall under different names. We had STAR, STAAR in Texas. We have this is Michigan. Let me double check here for a second. By the way, all of these tests are conducted by Pearson, who own the educational market and who are all in thanks to lots of donations to the Pearson Foundation, which, of course, is a Chinese wall segregating the Pearson profit-making organization. And, they were fined a couple $1 million for overstepping the boundaries. And this is all set up by the governors, who the only way they can get their No Child Left Behind. Yeah, their No Child Left Behind money is if they spend it. And this is primarily the Bill Gates partnership with Pearson and the Department of Education. Everyone's all in on it. But the company that actually does the testing is Prometric. And Prometric is the one that's screwing up with all of this stuff. They are the facilities. A lot of our dudes named Ben will probably know Prometric because they conduct all of the Windows IT professional tests. So they're used to doing this stuff. But maybe they're not so used to doing it in this setting with kids and with schools and with hackers.
Minnesota comprehensive assessments are given to students in grades 3 through 8 in reading, math, and science. 10th and 11th graders also take the test. Last week and this week, students struggled to log in.
Someone gave me the analogy today for this type of an attack. If you're in line at the grocery store and you're trying to pay and your son is going, Mom, 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 that's a denial of service attack.
Wow. Oh, I'm so glad you explained it to the stupid human resources. That's not at all what a denial of service attack is, but okay. If you think that's how it works.
The company that administers the test first discovered a server failure. Then there was a problem with too much traffic at one time. Tuesday, they found out an outsider was deliberately disrupting the system, overwhelming it so that students couldn't log in and take their test.
It's not an attempt to steal data or to hack into the system. Rather, it's an attempt to overwhelm it so that it can't function. So this would have been something that someone intentionally did in order to disrupt it from the outside.
He says there's no indication any student data was taken. MCA scores are seen as an indicator of a student's growth year to year. They're also used to track the progress of a school. Teachers worry that technical problems have created even more anxiety for students who understand the tests are important.
Testing can already be an anxious time for students, and we know that, and so anything that is going to potentially increase that anxiety is concerning to us, and that's part of the reason that we decided to suspend testing today.
This afternoon, the Minnesota Department of Education notified school districts that MCA testing will resume tomorrow. Pearson assures them the problems have been fixed and they've put in some new protections to prevent a similar attack on the testing system. An investigation is taking place to find the person or the people responsible for this. They lost 2 days, but they're going to extend that window.
This is crazy. None of this can go well. Of course, if you're doing this over the open internet and making these kids log in, well, yeah, of course. And I think it's very difficult for anyone, certainly Pearson or Prometric, to stop a denial of service, distributed denial of service. So I don't know what they did. The kind of like
denial of service attack. It probably doesn't take much, I'm guessing, with the software to just screw it up.
No. So this thing is
this is classic. Oh, let's rely on this crappy technology.
Yes.
Buy more computers.
Yes.
Stop teaching the kids. Put them on a computer. Which when I was a kid.
There you go.
They had these things called teaching machines, and they were out there. There's nothing new about this technology. Controlled Data used to own the market, as a matter of fact, and they put people on these things, and you could sit behind this thing and take tests and learn stuff, kind of. It was not a substitute for a classroom, but we've gone all in on this. Oh, let's just computers. We don't even need teachers. You got a bunch of kids, doing stupid crap they were on Facebook. That's what are you going to learn there? I find this whole thing to be depressing.
Well, these are the unintended consequences of technology, as we often discuss, and it's only going to get worse. It's not. I mean, the emails are still flowing in continuously about the ECD-10 codes. Dudes named Ben there's all kinds. It's unmanageable. We've gotten into this vibe of technology solves everything, or tech. It's called tech.
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 It sounds If another good book for people to read, the Jacques Ellul's The Technological Society. It's pretty long, but it's very good.
Now you could always read.
Excellent book.
Yeah, you could always read another book by my friend Theo. It's not really a book, but you can download it from the show notes. I always have it linked there under the Today section. It is Industrial Society and Its Future from my friend Theo.
Yeah, you mean Ted Kaczynski?
Theodore. Yes, yeah. Ted Kaczynski. Yes, the Unabomber, who was so passionate.
Yeah, I know you love that book.
Yeah, he's so passionate about what he had to say that he couldn't publish it because we didn't have an internet really. And he forced the New York Times and the Washington Post to publish it because he was blowing people up. So you got to think the guy had something to say. So, gee, who was the other?
Anyway, the Technological Society is an excellent read for anyone who likes a good read. It's about what we just discussed, which is this stuff that you turn there where everything relies on technology. Oh, tech's going to fix everything.
Everything. Yeah,
it's going to save us all, and it's not saving anybody, from what I can tell.
No, it's really not. It's really a step backwards in many ways. I like me some tech, but
it does account for us of being able to do this show, which would not be doable in a non-internet era. It just wouldn't. You can make a tape and pass it around.
And then we also wouldn't be able to share. And I want people to, this is in the show notes under the F Russia section. There's a great blog post from someone named Australian Voice. I don't know who this, let me see if there's a real name here. As anyone really claims who this is. Well-researched piece about, actually the title of it is why, this came from one of my handlers from Agent Orange. He sent this to me. So take that with whatever you want. Why does the West hate Putin? The secret reason.
I got the secret. I know the secret reason. Can I say? Because he's got Snowden. Not forget that.
Let me read this one paragraph. Early in the morning of Saturday, August 31st, 2013, an American official called the office of President Hollande of France, telling him to expect a call from President Obama later in the day. Quote, assuming that the evening phone call would announce the commencement of U.S. airstrikes against Syria, Hollande ordered his officers to quickly finalize their own attack plans. Rafale fighters were loaded with Scalp cruise missiles. Their pilots told to launch the 250-mile range munitions while over the Mediterranean. In other words, at this point in time, the French pilots and the U.S. forces were only waiting for the final command from President Obama to begin their attack. However, later that same day at 6:15 p.m., Obama called the French president to tell him that the strike scheduled for 3 a.m. September 1st would not take place as planned. He would need to consult Congress. Now, we remember this happening, but we didn't know the depth, and this guy has some interesting footnotes and links. It was claimed by a Lebanese newspaper, quoting diplomatic sources, that the missiles were launched from a NATO airbase in Spain, but were shot down by the Russian ship-based sea-to-air defense system, who moved in hastily. Another explanation proposed by the Asia Times says the Russians employed their cheap and powerful GPS jammers to render the expensive Tomahawks helpless by disorienting them and causing them to fail. Yet another version attributed the launch to the Israelis, whether they were trying to jumpstart the shootout or just observe the clouds, as they claim. So, and he shows all the different warships that were in the area, and we had the USS Mahan, that's a destroyer, the Stout, the destroyer, the San Antonio, which is an amphibious ship, the Chevalier Paul frigate, and you can see the Russian ships that were in there. They had anti-sub ships, lots of amphibious ships, and the claim here in this paper or this blog post is that really the secret is we failed. And the Russians showed their quote-unquote might, and that scared everybody back. And that's when they said, okay, well, we can't do it that way. Let's go screw those guys. And this, of course, launched ultimately Ukraine. And the idea was for NATO to take over Crimea, which is, of course, a beautiful spot to put some ballistic missiles on if you really want to have, a good piece of the region and it's a nice vacation spot too for some of the elites. And I like what this guy has done. He's done he got a lot of research material, a lot of footnotes, and I find it to be pretty believable. Not so good, of course, is that means we really truly are at a war with Russia, and we're just playing who's going to blink first, I guess.
Well, I'm skeptical. I'll have to look at this material myself.
It's in the show notes, 716.noagendanotes.com.
Seems like a long, a new narrative that conveniently explains things and also manages to blame the Russians again. When we love to blame the Russians.
Well, it actually doesn't. It actually
blame the Russians.
This actually doesn't blame the Russians. It actually says the Russians stopped, this attack, and that Putin.
It sounds like they're blaming the Russians for something.
Okay.
All right.
I think
that's good.
It's worth reading. It's
I will definitely get on that and see what's
we've put a couple things on the list. We have. Want to mention those books again so people can get those?
Jacques Ellul's The Technological Society, ELLUL, if you're looking for a file somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And also Philip Corso, Corso, and his book, and I think it's the only book he ever wrote, and it's called The Day After Roswell. It's a very, especially when you're about halfway through it, you realize this is a very entertaining book. And it could all be true.
Yep. What else? You got something to play us out with?
No, I'm done. I ran out through the whole list. That's something.
How does that happen? No.
Well, I mean, I could play an extra.
No, we're done now. No. We're out.
That's good. We're good.
It's almost 3 hours. Hello, No Agenda subreddit, who are convinced that the shows are getting shorter and shorter. Did these people even listen to us?
No, of course not. They just carp. I don't understand how those guys get everyone listening. They stink, those guys. They're wrong about this. 2 centimeters, not 3 centimeters. What are they thinking?
Once I found out you guys were wrong, I couldn't listen anymore.
Guys are wrong about that.
Well, we try. And we certainly put in the work. And we appreciate you keeping it going. Dvorak.org/NA is where you can come to our rescue. Coming to you from FEMA Region 6, where we're expecting thunderstorms later this evening. In the morning, everybody. Fantastic. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, we actually had some rain the other day, which was nice, even though apparently we're a desert, according to Hollywood. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We'll be back on Thursday right here on No Agenda.
Occasionally you blow things up, which is always cool.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
You're saying yeah, while you're saying no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, you know.
Yeah, no.
I don't know why you're saying yeah while saying no.
Yeah, no.
You know, you know.
Yeah, no.
I don't know why you're saying yeah while saying no.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
Tickets are a reminder that you have to follow the rules.
I'm Joe Biden, and thank you for taking the time to listen.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
The best podcast in the universe.
Amen. Fist bump.